Good morning and welcome to the Morning Constitutional. We have some comparing and contrasting nightmares to go over with you guys today. It's going to be a lot of fun. How's everyone doing?
I'm just trying to stay warm with these as low as negative 55 wind chills blowing through the area.
Yeah.
I'm living the dream, just
Yeah.
happy to be here and happy to see my portfolio isn't red anymore. Let's
It's
put it down.
okay.
Oh, just give it a day or two. It'll get there.
I'm good too. Here's the thing. Like, all right, if you guys, first of all, you have to get out of the mindset of a buy and hold passive strategy. Buy and hold passive strategies work fine when you're in a long-term bear cycle. Like from 2009 to 2020, sure, you could just buy and hold the S&P 500 index, and you could just set it and forget it and go about your day, and you would make money. All right? We're in stagflation now. Stagflation is incredibly hard to make money in. Basically, there is no safe haven. There's just like a constantly shifting jungle of bullshit that you have to navigate. Even the asset classes that are a good hedge against stagflation, like commodities, you have to deal with government manipulation, things like price controls, windfall taxes, subsidies, bans. You have to deal with fucking gamma squeezes, where like a bunch of market makers decide to crash the price because they're trying to hedge their risk. Like, you have to deal with that shit. Now, in the grand scheme of things, if you just stick to the fundamentals, you'll be fine. But you have to get out of the mindset of seeing, the number's going to go down once in a while. And that's why you have cash on the side to take advantage of the down days when things are irrationally underpriced, because you're going to be doing a lot of trading. You can't buy and hold anything in stagflation. Things are too volatile. There are no safe havens. In fact, that's the subject of our first article, which is about Japan. Because one of the big... now, this is retarded, but this is the narrative that the dollar has been this all-star asset class during inflation. Now, that should make your eyes roll. How in the fuck is the dollar a hedge against inflation when the literal definition of inflation is the erosion of the value of the dollar? And that should be your first clue that Clown World is about and lying to your face. And what they're talking about is the DXY, which is it's part of the foreign exchange market. Foreign exchange is basically different currencies. And for a couple months ago, back in September, the dollar hit all-time highs because you had other Western currencies that were still slow to raise their rates. The Fed was raising rates, but Europe wasn't, the UK wasn't, Japan wasn't, and so the dollar was strengthening in relation to these other Western currencies. That's all the DXY is. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with the purchasing power of the dollar. It has nothing to do with the dollar as it relates to actual goods and services. It's just the exchange rate between Western currencies. But because there's a tenuous link between commodity prices and the value of the dollar, even though there isn't, I hate the algo bots as much as I hate the Antichrist, because they don't think, they just react based on data and momentum. They're just programmed. So they just do trades that make no sense based on the fundamentals because this number went up or this number went down. And it made sense to whoever programmed this. And there are people who throw a lot of money at these algo bots, but they are fucking dumb. And none of them are programmed for how to deal with stagflation, because the last time we had stagflation was the 1970s, which was over 50 years ago. So we didn't even have like the internet back. Well, we had like the beginning of the computers. Like that was like when computers took up entire rooms and they had punch cards. So like computers were just barely getting off the ground. Certainly none of these models, like the data we had available, like we can collect millions of kinds of data now in real time because we have different computers monitoring and collecting. Back in the 70s, we had to basically report things manually. Things had to be done manually. So we don't have the kind of data that we have now in the 70s. So a lot of these models that rely on all these different kinds of data, they don't go back that far. They go back to like maybe the 90s if you're lucky. You might see a model that like incorporates like 20 years of data, but not 50 years of data, because the data gets like less complete the longer you go back in time, because humans had to do it manually. But anyway, everything is fake and
Before we
gay.
do that, sponsors.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay. You know, speaking of fake and gay, the dollhouse, where you can get a fake and gay waifu. Well, she doesn't have to be gay. Depends on how you identify, I suppose. But she is fake. But, you know, that's a good thing, because women are horrible. So you might as well get a fake one. Like, it's basically all the squishiness and sex without any of the bullshit. Why would you want a real woman? I'm like, I've seen these people, like someone shared a TikTok video of a guy who's in a one-way open relationship in his marriage, talking about how he trusts his wife and how he's confident and secure in his marriage to let her sleep with other men. And it's like, brah. Like, I understand.
Coping and seething.
Well, if look, I understand if you're married with kids and your wife basically, it's either she drops papers on you and leaves you, and she's gonna fuck other guys anyway, and then you're never gonna see your kids again, and you're gonna get kicked out of your house. You're gonna have to move back in with your mom or live in your car. I could see in that situation, basically pretending to support her and allow her to fuck other guys, well, at least you get to live in your house and raise your kids, is the lesser evil. But that does not justify you going on TikTok and like virtue signaling about how manly and secure you are in your masculinity to let your wife fuck other guys. That is pathetic. Guys have absolutely no respect for themselves anymore. And it's like, there's no point in even getting married anymore. If open relationships are going to be the new normal, what is the point of marriage? You might as well just fuck single moms. Just date single moms, fuck them, maybe have a kid and have to pay child support, maybe you don't. Why would you put a ring on that? Why would you want to let that move into your house if she's just going to fuck other guys? There's no point. Like,
They don't think that far, TFM. They don't
Well,
have
they don't-
that much self-awareness.
they're just it. The thing is
peer pressure.
no, what it is guys will. Women are as bad as men allow them to be, and men basically have no. They have no ability to strengthen their pimp hand and demand better of women. So women are just descending down the levels of awfulness. They've gotten fatter and hairier, and now they're fucking other men, and it's just. There's nothing men won't put up with, and it's because, I would argue, it's because society shoves this narrative down men's throats that if you don't have a woman, you're basically less than dirt. You're a failure as a human being and as a man. So you better get a woman. And so as horrible as women become, men are just willing to take whatever deal they're offered because they don't want to be labeled an incel or, you know, a doll fucker or some kind of negative pejorative that society puts on them for not accepting the status quo. So men just want that validation by society that they're a success. So that's why these guys are like, oh, I'm just, you know, you're just jealous. I got this beautiful girl who fucks other guys, but she comes home to me. It's like the whole NFT thing. Like, yeah,
Destiny
I know you can.
always used to say that, and everybody would just be like, I don't know where you're getting this from.
Look, I'm not. I don't even want to talk about that guy anymore. Like, it's water under the bridge now. But you remember, like,
No, that's not why I was bringing it up. I was just saying that was always his thing.
yeah, there's no point in being in a relationship. Like, so there's a word for people who date and fuck other people on the side. It's called casually dating. So you call up a girl like, hey, you free this Friday? Oh, you're busy. You got other plans? Cool. What about Wednesday? What about next Friday? You basically date people while they're also dating other people. And you go on a date and maybe have sex or whatever, and that's it. It's very casual. You're just like hanging out with them casually while they also hang out with other people, and you're fucking or not, and then you're going about and you're also dating and fucking other people at the same time. That's called playing the field. When the fuck
That's
did
called spinning plates.
No, it's not spinning play. It's just dating. When you first when you're just dating people, you should be like asking out different people, and you know, like you'll go out with Susie on this day, and you'll go out with Megan on this day, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a relationship. The whole point of, like, say, if you ask a girl, hey, you want to be my girlfriend? You're basically saying, do you want to stop dating other people and only date each other? to see if we're like long-term compatible. That's the point. And if you say, will you marry me? You're saying we're going to be completely exclusive. That's the point. If you're just going to be casually dating, then just casually date. Why the fuck would you marry someone just to casually date them? There's literally no point at all whatsoever. Other than, like, imagine casually dating someone and then letting them move into your house and live rent-free. Like, if we're just casually dating, you better pay your half of the rent. Because we're basically just roommates. We're roommates with benefits. Because this does happen where, like, a girl will fuck other guys or date other guys, but you'll have, like, some friend with benefits that she'll fuck when she's between relationships. That's fine. But that's not the basis of a relationship. Having a friend with benefits that fucks you when she's between boyfriends is not the foundation of a successful marriage. Like, it baffles me. Like, there's nothing here. There's nothing here to base a relationship on. You're not even in a relationship. You're friends with benefits. You're roommates. So that's fine. Go be roommates. Go be friends with benefits. Go casually date. You don't need to live in my house rent-free and eat my food and be on my insurance while you casually date other people. Go fucking casually date whoever the fuck you want. Bye. That's how that goes. But guys are like, that's the new normal. And it's because the next thing, like, women have gotten more and more awful and men get shamed for not accepting it. The newest thing is going to be sex workers and porn stars and cam whores. And you're just going to be expected culturally to just accept her while she's an active sex worker.
It already is.
Yeah, I know it already is. Like, think about it. 100 years ago, men wouldn't even mess around with a girl who wasn't a virgin. If you weren't a virgin...
In most religious societies, that's still kind of the way it is.
Yeah. So 100 years ago, if you weren't a virgin, you were SOL. 50 years ago, if you were a divorcee, you were SOL. Then, if you were a single mom, you were SOL. Now, there's no line. No line at all. Doesn't matter. You could fuck 1,000 guys. You could be a single mom. You could be a fucking a porn star prostitute. And guys will be like, well, if you have a problem with her fucking other guys right in front of me while living in my house and eating in my food, you're just an incel.
See, this was the argument. This is the argument me and everybody else were making during the whole gay marriage thing. Is that marriage is a religious institution. It always has been. By redefining it as love is love and no one should tell you who to marry, who you love, you've now made marriage something that is not only bastardized, but has no purpose in the country anymore. So when people get married, it is
sanctimoniousness of marriage.
But I'm saying there's no tax benefit. There's no real benefit for like benefits that you can't get through a civil union. So there's no purpose to defining marriage anymore, with the exception of it gives women the ability to fuck you over in a divorce. That's the only benefit of marriage these days outside of a religious community. Well,
traditionally, what women used marriage for was to basically as a way to gatekeep their vaginas. They're like,
it was a way legally to define a non-blood relative dependent.
Yeah, sure. No, but I'm talking like the way women looked at marriage was they'd want you to put a ring on it before you had sex with them, and that was their way of ensuring they would be taken care of. Well, now, and I've made this point years ago when someone argued that if we had UBI in communism, then women would choose men who are good fathers as opposed to men who are good providers.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I know, but look, he was projecting. He was projecting male nature onto female nature. When you give women free resources, this is exactly what happens. They don't find men who are good fathers. They just become single moms. Yep. That's all they do. They just become single moms.
Black community. You've got that is exactly what happened.
We have 70 years of data to prove this. So it's an open and shut case. There's no evidence. I understand this flies in the face of your egalitarian bullshit, but reality doesn't give a fuck about your feelings and about your utopian bullshit. It was always bullshit, and now if you look around you, you can see the result. Society is dying. Races are going extinct. They're going extinct for one reason and one reason only, because of the empowerment of their women. It's not because of a lack of religion. Like I've done videos about this. Going to church doesn't mean anything if you don't take women's rights away. Simply, you can go to church every Sunday. You could read the Bible cover to cover. You can praise Jesus. You can, all that shit. If you empower women, your society goes extinct.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's go away from that for 1 second. Okay. And you can also say it goes back to what we talk about every week ad nauseum here. If you're not going to church or synagogue or whatever, or mosque, whatever it may be, in the furtherance of your community, like that should be part of your community, not a means to an end. If you're not doing that, then all you're doing is going to express some level of social faith. And if all you're doing is that, then you've created no barrier, because if you're not a community that actually fears not just God, but the community itself, that like if you have no reason to behave, most people won't.
Well, and that started.
I just wanted to put a stopgap on this real quick because we're going to get to the other sponsors.
We'll get to them eventually.
We can continue.
We will move. We'll get to them. Don't worry, sponsors. We haven't forgotten about you. But anyway, this all started with Martin Luther. This was the beginning of. It doesn't seem like it. All these incremental steps. They individually they didn't spell the doom of Western civilization, but you can see just a little pivot. It's like when you see two lines and they seem parallel, but then as you start to widen your view, you see that the lines diverge even further and further the longer the lines go, until the lines are completely opposite each other. Whereas at the beginning they seemed like they were parallel. It was an indetectable change in trajectory. It was only after much time that you saw that the lines were completely diverging. But yeah, this all started with Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation. Not saying that the Catholic Church was good. It was corrupt. But, you got to look at it this way. I brought up this point when it comes to feminism versus, let's say gynocentrism versus androcentrism. When you have patriarchy, which isn't even androcentric, by the way, but let's just, for the sake of argument, say that. So under patriarchy, there were women who were in marriages that they didn't want to be in out of necessity. There were women who were abused by their husbands who couldn't leave because they had nowhere to go. There were miserable women out there. There were abusive asshole men out there. And there was pain and suffering in society on some level, right? Now that we have gynocentrism, we have opposite problem. We're going to talk about this too. We're going to talk about the men who have been completely left behind and demonized for existing, and we're going to talk about that. But you have men who's basically they're more miserable. They're suicidal. They're killing each other at record rates, and no one gives a shit. And here's the thing. So you have female misery over here, you have male misery over here. That's a wash. But when you had patriarchy, you had strong families, strong communities, and you had a thriving birth rate, and you had growth and expansion of the Western civilization. And now with gynocentrism, you have the total opposite. So putting I understand it's hard to put my feelings. It's hard to put that aside. But you need to understand that there's going to be, pain and suffering are part of life. People are going to suffer. Basically, even when they're pandered to, they suffer. Female antidepressant use is at an all-time high because women are miserable too, despite being endlessly pandered to. So pain and suffering are just part of life. Put that aside. Look at what's happening to the world. Look what's happening to society. Look what's happening to communities. They're disintegrating. Absolutely disintegrating, and there's going to be a massive culling. And then what? Whatever happens after that is going to be up to us.
Because of some unknown vaccine.
Well,
no, I wouldn't go that far. That's a symptom.
The gummy worms and all that. It's fine. Look, I'm not against it. I'm not in favor of eugenics. I prefer natural selection, but it's very clear that for natural selection to work its crazy magic, the government has to stop helping. And for whatever reason, they've run the numbers and they've decided that cutting welfare is less politically feasible than murdering people. And so they decided to go with that.
In this new spending bill they're trying to pass this week, they found a provision. There's this guy who's reading it and he's posting all the provisions that he found. They allocated $1.7 billion to communities for reproductive services, like basically abortion, in order to stop the threat to biodiversity. Like they're basically saying, like,
What?
there's too many people here, so we're going to give extra money for abortions, and it's written clear as day.
Right. No, that's exactly. They're also seizing They're shutting down farms in the name of
Europe, for sure.
Yeah, all over Europe. They're shutting down farms. They're shutting down energy plants. They're driving people. They're going to kill people. They're going to kill people directly and indirectly. And
Well, we are killing people.
Well, they are. I know, but they're going to. They're going to keep stepping it up. They haven't stopped. So that's the future. And the sad thing is, there is a difference between letting people die and murdering them. Murdering them is worse than simply letting nature take its course. Like, not if someone is begging for money and you don't help them and they die later that night, you didn't kill them. But if you strangle them to death or stab them to death, like that, you're actually killing them. So for whatever reason,
we have a bit drugs. I mean, like, if you put drugs in their drink and then they drink the drink, they're kind of just killing themselves. You didn't really kill them. You just put drugs in their drink. Like, it was their choice to drink the drink.
Yeah, but you did that for the express purpose of killing them. The point is that we, as a society, for some reason, we refuse to let nature take its course. So we've chosen to murder people instead. We've chosen to starve, freeze, and just straight up murder people with gummy worms in their blood, because that was the preferable solution than just, hey, the government's not going to help you anymore. You're going to have to take care of yourself, or you're going to have to turn to your community or family. That was too heartless. Let's just fucking murder you, and let's starve you and freeze you to death. That's the lesser evil, apparently. So that's what's happening, and all we can do is just not die until something breaks and until change can occur, which isn't now. We're going to talk about that later too. Anyway, let's finally get to our other sponsors. We have the Way of Monkey book available on Amazon. We have Hardly Heroes, the fantasy Dungeons and Dragons comic book series from Shadowmare Comics. The new campaign is coming in the next week or so. There'll be a new ad, so updates will be coming. The goal was to try to get it out before Christmas, but they're going to miss that window, but that's okay. The 2023 is a new year, new exciting things happening. So check out Shadowmare Comics, check out Hardly Heroes. The Indiegogo campaign will be published, and you'll be able to get the first 6 volumes in one trade back volume, which will be cool if you haven't checked it out. But check them out. If you like Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy comics, you'll like it. Merovingian Club is the Mastodon instance for people in the community, not just my community. I like to see people in other communities join Merovingian Club. So far, it seems to be mostly my community. Everyone else is still sticking to YouTube and Discord and Twitter. They're all sticking to the mainstream. But just so you know, they don't like you there. They're going to kick you off. So at least open an account. Open an account. Maybe encourage people to follow you there. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just have some diversity. Set up accounts on alternative platforms, so when you get kicked off of Discord, when you get kicked off of Twitter, when you get kicked off of YouTube, you have a secondary platform already ready to go. Because if you just try to scramble after you've been deplatformed, well, then your audience doesn't know where to find you. But if you've already created these alt platforms and then you get kicked off the mainstream platform, the other people know where to find you because you've kind of trained them to know about it already. So it's just, an ounce of preparation is worth a pound of cure. So, join Merovingian Club. It's a Mastodon instance that we control. It's not going to be shut down. It may be DDoS, but it won't be shut down.
I was about to say, but it can get DDoSed.
Yeah, well, look, that's unfortunately that's how things work around here. You got to deal. You got to deal with the haters and the people who want to shut you down, and it's unfortunate.
I swear, my Matrix home server was down off and on the last 3 days. I think this was the only time when I've had a stable connection for more than 5 hours for the last 2 days. It was crazy. Just constantly getting attacked and DDoSed.
Well, that might be weather. It might be weather related too. I know, Mydov.pl got hit when some kind of inclement weather hit Poland, and so the server went down because of power outages. So it's not necessarily a cyber attack. It could just, because these are private servers. This isn't like a giant server bay in like the San Francisco or something. This is just like a guy, just a lolicon with a dream, who's got a computer in his house and he's trying to run a server, just so he can enjoy some cunny in his privacy of his own home. Anyway, so okay. Our last sponsor is The Menu by Aaron Clary. Kind of goes to what we're talking about. Like, everything is fake and gay, and you have to figure out something to live for. I've been seeing these. We're going to talk about this later in the show, I might bring up The Menu then too. But different people with different values and goals in life are still seeing the same shitty thing that you see. Everyone knows society is crumbling. Everyone knows everything is fucked. But what do? Most people haven't even thought about it. They don't know what to do. They have no idea, because for basically as long as anyone can remember, society has not failed, and people have these social expectations of what to do in life, like get a good job, get a family, settle down. That's been like the go-to plan for countless generations, and that plan isn't going to work anymore. I mean, maybe if you want to marry a sex worker while she fucks other guys in your house, I don't know, like, you could kind of try to make that work for a little bit longer, but fuck that shit. I don't understand the complete lack of dignity that men have anymore, but I understand they want the validation of being seen as a quote-unquote good man, but I don't know. It's whatever. Anyway, if you don't know what to do, and you feel lost, you don't even know what else is out there, The Menu is a really good resource. It just goes over things to consider and things to think about. It's kind of like, it's a conversation that people should have had either on their own or with a trusted relative at some point in their life. But for some reason, because we live in a world of single mothers with no community, no social ties, we're all just islands in a sea of bullshit, nobody tells you this stuff. So the Menu can be a resource for people who don't know where else to turn and don't know what else to do, because they're just completely alone. And the only thing society tells them is that if you don't get a woman, you're an incel. They're calling Henry Cavill an incel. Henry Cavill! Like, what? Like, if he's an incel, then there's no point. Like, that word means nothing anymore.
You heard what he's doing now, right?
He's going to be the fucking God Emperor.
He's going full game and neat.
Well, no, he left The Witcher to be Superman again, and then they decided not to have him be Superman. So now he's signed on to do a Warhammer 40K show as the God Emperor.
Well, it's kind of better because the guys at the DC basically told Henry, "Hey, you gotta quit Witcher if you want to do Superman again." And said, "Okay, fine."
Well, I mean, it's not just that.
Actually, we don't need you to be Superman. Have a good day. Oh, fine.
Right.
Oh, you want? Hey, Henry, you want to be part of a Warhammer? It's like,
well, yeah, he's a giant Warhammer fan. He's always talking about his Custodes army in interviews. And the thing about the women who worked on The Witcher were talking all this shit about him, saying that he's an incel, and he talks about Me Too disparagingly. And there was a male writer, who was like getting harassed, like some kind of Me Too related thing, and he went to bat for him. And then after he was fired, he basically told the show to hire this guy back. So this guy's like a total bro who's like looking out for guys getting Me Too'd and getting bullshit by these females. And he was willing to basically like use his pull. Like he was the star of the show. There's not going to be a Witcher show anymore because Henry Cavill left. So he was using that pull to try to help a guy who's getting harassed by these women. And now that the show's over, because he left, he basically killed the show to go be Superman, and then that didn't work. All these women are like being all catty cunts, talking about how he's an incel. And it's like, fuck, he's Henry Cavill. Look at him. Like, if this was what an incel looks like, you're stupid. Like, this guy doesn't give a fuck. Like, and then he says, like, look at him. Instead of chasing women, instead of doing all this shit that these simps and cucks do, he's just painting his Custodes army, talking about how cool Warhammer 40K is, doing his thing.
He's found a higher calling in the service of the God Emperor of mankind.
Yeah, he like, that's like, we have very few role models in life, especially now. Like, Henry Cavill, he's a bro. Like, he's someone I would like to hang out with. He seems like a cool dude. Whereas most of these fucking celebrities can just choke on a dick. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. We covered the sponsors. Told you we'd come back to them. All right. Quickly, let me talk to our first article. Bank of Japan. They raised the benchmark rate. So what's going on? So Japan they're going down the hyperinflation route. Now, hyperinflation doesn't happen all at once. When I warn about something happening, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or next week. I'm saying it's going to happen eventually because of these circumstances. And Japan is going down the hyperinflation route. What they did was they did what's called yield curve control. So when bond prices go down, bond yields go up. They're inversely correlated. When bond yields go up, the government has to pay more interest on their debt. When Japan is in so much debt, and also they don't their debt means something. They don't have, because they're not the reserve currency of the world the way the United States dollar is. They can't just export their inflation to other countries the way the U.S. can. So when Japan has too much debt, they have to do something. So in order to prevent, basically they have to either monetize the debt, which would cause horrible inflation, or they have to cut spending, which they can't do. So what they decided to do was they're going to hold bond yields at a certain level, and if a bond yield rises above that level, the Bank of Japan will buy it. So there's a ceiling on bond prices, and the Bank of Japan has been buying bonds above that ceiling. And they're doing it with printed money, which is causing horrible inflation. In fact, Japan, they don't even measure inflation the way that other countries do, because they're trying not to report it. It's fine. Look, Japan was already dying because of their demographic problem. There's just more fuel on the fire of the end of Japan. But it is what it is. Anyway, I guess people are speculating why they did this. Because it's not going to affect the inflation. All they did was they raised the bond yield threshold by 50 basis points or 0.5%, which is nothing. Like, if you're going to actually let bond yields rise to their market level in order to stop printing money, you're going to have to go up a lot higher than 50 basis points. But they're only doing 50 basis points. However, this did send a signal to the DXY. Because, again, the DXY is just the dollar's strength against other Western currencies. But you have the European Central Bank, saying they're going to start quantitative tightening, which means they're going to start raising interest rates aggressively in 2023. So historically, the Bank of Europe, like the European Central Bank, they've had negative rates. As the United States Fed has kept rates near zero, the European Central Bank has had negative rates. This is what caused their bond crisis a few months ago, because all these pension funds had to go with extreme leverage in order to make these bond portfolios profitable in order to fund these pensions. And then as the economy, basically as what happened over 2022 happened, these bond funds crashed, and because they were so leveraged, it caused a bond crisis, and then they had to get bailed out by the European Central Bank. Expect more of that, by the way. However, European Central Bank is raising interest rates, the UK is raising interest rates, and now, shockingly, Japan is starting to raise interest rates because the inflation is crazy, and also the United States is exporting their inflation. It's all, look, none of this is actually going to do anything with inflation, but what it does do is it affects the exchange rate. So what's funny about this is people were running to the dollar because stocks are down, bonds are down, crypto's down, everything is down. There's no safe haven. So people are looking at the dollar as the last safe haven, and now the dollar's going down because of the yen. The yen was like the last Western currency that was still basically free, and it was propping up the dollar. And now that's ending. Japan is finally raising rates, which means the dollar, even though it's still the smartest retard on the short bus, it's not as attractive as it was back in September when the DXY was 114. It's only like 104 now, and it's probably not going to go.
She's all used up now.
Yeah, so there's no safe haven anymore. There's no safe haven at all, and people are living in a land of make-believe. They're saying that winter is canceled, the winter's going to be mild. Now, there was this model that said that the entire month of December would be mild. And then the polar vortex hit, and now they're saying, oh, that'll be over by Christmas. And then by the way, again, let me put this in context. This model is supposed to be like a multi-week model. It uses algorithms. It doesn't use actual data. It uses projections and simulations. It was projecting a mild December. Then the polar vortex hit, showed that model was retarded. But then they said, oh, it's going to end by Christmas. Because again, NOAA, which is the government climate office, I don't know what it stands for, their projections are only good for about 10 days. After 10 days, it's basically worthless. So 10 days was Christmas. And they were saying, oh yeah, this is going to be over by Christmas because they didn't have NOAA contradicting them. Well, then NOAA came out and it's like, actually, this is going to last until, later. And they're like, oh, did I say Christmas? I meant New Year's. And it's just going to be a sliding scale of, oh, don't worry. I know it's cold now. I know there's like fucking snow on the ground and below freezing temperatures. But listen, 10 days from now, it's going to be fine. It's going to be mild, sell everything. And what they're doing is, they're just trying to keep people from panicking. That's what all this is about. They don't want to see, they're trying to keep energy prices low during...
they don't want people driving commodities up.
Inflation,
artificially low.
There's an energy crisis, and they've been warning about this energy crisis for months. And they could have done something to prepare for it, but they really didn't. And all they can do now is lie to your face and tell you bullshit until it's too late. Like, once the weather models that are within 10 days and you can see that winter is not canceled, well, then they'll keep moving the timetable back. Like, oh yeah, maybe the first week of January will be cold, but the middle and later part of January will be mild, so sell everything. And they'll just keep doing that until the spring. And then they'll be like, see, I told you. And it doesn't matter. Like, there's... Basically, everything is fake and gay. All these government agencies that are supposed to put out true information, they're all lying to you because their top priority is to keep you from panicking.
Yep.
And they don't have any other tools. They don't, like, they fucked everything up.
The day of reckoning.
They're just, well, the thing about panics, and look, you saw this with the Colonial Pipeline. I keep bringing this up because it's so illustrative. And you saw this with COVID. Remember the toilet paper shortages where people were just buying toilet paper and hoarding it in their house? And because there was a toilet paper shortage, so people just bought unnecessary copious amounts of toilet paper and basically prolonged the shortage. And the same thing happened when the Colonial Pipeline was hacked and there was a rumor of a gas shortage. People started filling up fucking garbage bags and plastic totes with gasoline, which is completely unsafe. And one guy actually caught his car on fire because he had a fucking tote of gasoline in the back of his car and then decided to smoke a cigarette. Like a smart person. And he caught his whole car burst into flames. So that's fun. So they understand that if people panic, you're going to have horrible, horrible consequences. So they're desperately trying to keep you from panicking. I can appreciate that. But what baffles me is people can, like, as much as people say they don't believe the media, they keep doing what the media says. They keep obeying the media. They keep following the media's lead, despite claiming they don't trust the media. It's like, hey, idiot, it's December 21st. It is snowing outside. It is sub-zero temperatures in most of the lower 48. Well, not most of, but there's a polar vortex hitting. And you are selling natural gas because these people who were wrong about said polar vortex 2 weeks ago are telling you that I know our model has been wrong this entire time, but trust me, bro, it's going to be totally accurate outside the window that we can prove it's bullshit. So this is just remember transitory inflation? Remember when the Fed told you that inflation's going to peak any day now in September of 2021? And it didn't peak, did it? Inflation didn't go down, did it? It's still not going down, by the way. The only reason why the rate of increase peaked was because of base effects. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not going to explain it. Basically, inflation is not going away. And even the Fed is saying inflation is going to be sticky for years. They're saying it might go down to like 4 or 5% next year. Now, what I mean by base effects is when you're comparing a high inflationary year to another high inflationary year, think about high inflation was 9% this year at its peak. They're talking about next year, it may be 4 or 5%. That means that's on top of the 9% it was this year. That's 4 or 5% higher than the prices now. That's not a peak. Like, think of a mountain. What is the peak of the mountain? It's the point in the mountain where it starts going down afterwards. We're not peaking anything. The only thing peaking is your retardation. Like, the rate of increase will go down due to base effects, but prices won't come down. So anyway, I'm just saying everything is fake and gay. So I'm getting reports that Russia is wrecking Ukraine's shit in Bakhmut right now. Absolutely annihilating their shit. And the general in charge of the Ukraine armed forces is basically saying, I need an army or we're going to lose. Why do you think Zelensky's going to D.C.? He needs to beg for an army. Their army is obliterated. And not only is Russia pushing their shit in Bakhmut, they're just waiting. So the north is already frozen. The south hasn't frozen yet. They're waiting for the south to freeze. They're also training a secondary army in Belarus to invade from the north. Like, they are going to absolutely fucking obliterate Ukraine very shortly. It's going to be like, they're done fucking around.
Do you think they're going to wait until Zelensky's back in the country so that he doesn't escape?
Here's what I'm working.
Matter. Like, even if Zelensky got like shot in the head, like, they're just going to find like the nearest Ukraine and say, "Oh yeah, he's in charge of our puppet government now."
I'm actually a little bit concerned that Zelensky might be assassinated in a false flag, because this happens all the time. Every war is always precipitated. Yeah, right. So they assassinate Zelensky, they blame it on Russia, and then now NATO has to get involved, because if NATO does not get involved, Ukraine will lose. Basically they need send them launchers, send them missiles, send them ammo. None of that does anything if you don't have people. Their soldiers are dead. Manpower. Their soldiers are fucking dead. They need an army. They need an army to come in. But the only one that will come in is NATO. They need NATO to come into Ukraine to basically replace the completely annihilated Ukrainian army. Why
don't they just do what they're doing right now and just quote unquote send volunteers?
They've already conscripted all their men. They also they have mercenaries out the ass. So they've already conscripted their entire male population. They've already have all these mercenaries from NATO, and it's still not enough. They're still getting their shit pushed in. It turns out Russia's a pretty big country with a lot of people. I don't know if you've ever seen a globe. They're pretty big. They got a lot of people. So
actually, surprisingly enough, they don't really have that many people for a country that size. They only got around 90 million.
America's 300 million. But are we going to?
You wouldn't think it would be a bigger number.
Well, we can't even field an army.
When Australia is the same size as the U.S. and we have 20 million people.
Well, yeah. Russia and Australia both have large amounts of inhospitable land. My point is that I'm worried that Zelensky is going to get assassinated in a false flag attack in order to justify NATO going into Ukraine. Like, why would Putin assassinate Zelensky? He wouldn't. He's winning. But NATO needs a false flag they want to get in. They want to escalate the war with Russia. The problem is,
why would it matter if Zelensky got assassinated? Like, he's at war with Russia, of course.
They need NATO. They need something public. They need something big that will precipitate NATO going into Ukraine directly. Now, just so you know, if that happens,
JFK situation.
If that happens, we're going to nuke each other. You can't have nuclear powers going to war you're going to nuke each other in the end. Like, if Russia obliterates NATO's forces, then America's going to nuke Russia because they're not going to take the L. And if America obliterates Russia's forces, Russia's going to nuke America because they're not going to take the L. No country is going to take the L when they have nuclear stockpiles. So there's no point even having a conventional war. Like, if NATO wants to start attacking Russia directly, Russia's just going to hit the button, and then boom, we're all dead. Everything's in a radiated parking lot. And I don't know what these people are thinking, but they're getting their asses kicked, and they don't want to. They're living in a land of make believe, and they don't want you to panic. So they're just gaslighting you. Which is, look, gaslighting works until your eyes start. Well, it works until your eyes contradict what you're being told. Like, you could be told that winter is going to be mild and that the energy crisis is over, and then you walk outside and it's fucking sub-zero temperatures. You know, and you could be told, oh, the food crisis is over, but then you go to the store and there's empty shelves. You could be told the vaccine is safe and effective until people start fucking dying of heart attacks in their 20s. And then still get COVID and still spread it. Like, at some point... And also
when you have, like, 70% decrease in births over, like, a year-over-year.
Yeah, at some point, what you're being told and what your lived experience, they start to clash. Now, I understand we've been trained to just trust the media, and I understand in lieu of lack of information, if you don't have any contradicting lived experience, I understand why you would default. Like, I have to take the media's word about what's happening in Africa or Asia because I don't live there. I don't know what the fuck's happening in Africa or in Asia, so I have to trust somebody to tell me what's going on over there because I can't verify it. But when it's shit happening that's within my lived experience, and my lived experience is contradicting what I'm being told, and it's not just like a one-off, it's like in and out, none of this makes sense, people will start to question it. Like, it takes time. What baffles me is, I saw this, remember at the end of COVID, you had all these trucker protests. It started with Canada, and the right was organizing a bunch of freedom convoys, and we were all gonna protest the COVID restrictions because we were all over COVID. And then they just pivoted to Ukraine, and everybody just fucking fell in line again. Yep. Everyone became a fucking fella, and we're all going to support Ukraine, and we're going to support the current thing. And everyone just continually falls for the same bullshit from the same people who were just lying to you 5 minutes ago. Like, they were lying to you about everything for the last however goddamn many years. But this time, you believe them? You're just going to take their word for it? Even though they've been lying to you constantly? So, now, what I find very interesting is, in the things that the cathedral control... Like, they control things like what the media says, what the intelligence community does, the outcome of elections. They can control all that. They're very good at controlling the things that they actually can control. They are horrible at controlling the things outside of their control. Like, Japan doing what it did, crashing the dollar, that they couldn't do anything about that. They don't control Japan. Japan has its own interests. They can't control Russia. What they're doing, they thought Russia was going to lose by now. They thought the Kherson offensive would break the back of the Russian military, and they thought a lot of things that didn't turn out to be so. They thought fucking COVID would be here for years, and they'd be able to milk it and impose the entire Great Reset. They're still pushing. What I think is hilarious is they're pushing forward with the Great Reset. All the provisions they were going to put in for COVID, they're still putting in, but they're doing it under climate change. Like, so they just changed the rationale for it, but the policy didn't change, which tells you this has jack shit to do with either COVID or climate change. For example, we talked about the 15-minute city the other week, which is a good idea. Like, having things within walking distance is not a bad idea, but they're trying to restrict people's movement. And they're using this 15-minute city as an excuse for it. But they have that in China. They have movement restrictions in China. The same policies are in China. They don't give a fuck about the climate. So they're basically they're going to push their agenda. Their agenda is CBDC, digital ID to basically restrict your movement, gun control. They're going to shut down farms. They're going to restrict meat. They're going to restrict energy. They're going to nationalize the food and energy sectors to control you and control the country and impose communism. That's the plan. Now, they can use COVID as an excuse, monkeypox, Sears, climate change, whatever you'll fall for. Whatever will convince you to sit there with your thumb up your ass and let them do it, that's what they'll do. And here we are, it's December 21st, and these fucking idiots who've been lying to you about everything for the last however many years are trying to convince you that inflation is over, winter is canceled, Russia's on the verge of losing. Like, it's all clearly bullshit. Absolutely none of it is true whatsoever. And I just don't know when people... I don't know. Like, people's lived experience will have to catch up with them. When Russia annihilates Ukraine and makes them surrender, I guess that's when they'll realize, oh, I guess Russia wasn't losing since they just won. Like, we have to wait for we have to wait for Russia to literally force Ukraine to surrender before we'll admit that Ukraine wasn't winning, apparently. And even in the middle of a goddamn polar vortex, people are saying that, oh yeah, this is going to be fine. Yeah, it's going to be over by the end of December, and it's going to be nice and warm. It's going to be shorts and flip-flops weather as soon as right after Christmas or early spring. To pay no attention to the sub-zero temperatures. Also, remember the whole thing about European gas storage? How there was no energy crisis anymore because we have all this gas storage and it's going to be fine. The UK just burned through 1/6 of their gas storage in like a week, because they only have 5 days worth of gas storage. This idea of so in a normal year, in just a normal everyday year, these countries fill up their storage in the summer when gas is cheap to use in the winter. That's just the normal storage gas they use anyway, that they use in addition to all the gas they import. This isn't like emergency storage. There is no SPR for natural gas. There's not. Without flows, you are going to have rationing and shortages and people freezing to death. And you're going to see, and it's happening right now, and everyone's like in denial about it. And it boggles the mind, like, how people continue to believe the TV. Like, at what point are you going to admit, like, the TV is lying to you? And what I find really interesting is now that the Twitter files are out, we know that they lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. We know they lied about, whether COVID came from a lab and whether masks work. And we know they lied about all these things. But even as we get more and more information about all these other lies they've told, we continue to believe the lies they're currently telling. And I don't know. I'm like, what is it going to take for people to realize they're lying to you about this too? Because they've lied to you about everything else. Like, this isn't the exception. They didn't turn over a new leaf this morning. These are the same people that were lying to you about everything else for the last several years. There wasn't, like, it'd be one thing if there was like a huge shakeup and, there was a red wave. And the Republicans took control of the House and the Senate, and all these people are fired, and there's going to be investigations. They put whole new people, and like the way Elon Musk is doing with Twitter, he's like cleaning house, and he's opening up the vaults and showing everyone where the bodies are buried. If that happened, I'd be like, you know what? Like, maybe things are turning around. Maybe these institutions, now that they cleaned out all these political cronies, maybe they're worth taking at their word again. None of that has happened. Absolutely none of it. The exact opposite has happened. The exact fucking opposite has happened. And yet people are like, well, they told me the winter's canceled and Russia's losing and inflation is over and the Fed is pivoting and good times are here again and not to panic. It's like maybe they're just trying to keep you from panicking. Maybe they're lying to your goddamn face to prevent you from panicking, and maybe you should, maybe not panic. Panicking isn't the answer, but think about what if they're lying to you to keep you from panicking like they have been doing for the last several years. What would you do differently that you're doing right now? What should you do if you believe possibly they're lying to you to keep you from panicking? Just think about that. Maybe let that marinate in your brain and reconsider some of your upcoming actions.
This is a reminder.
I don't know. That's my... Okay.
So TFN, I've been thinking, like maybe the reason why like it seems like everyone's just kind of blindly obeying is because like the people that would like say something are right now being censored. We're just kind of hearing an echo chamber at this point.
I wouldn't go there.
I don't know. I was kind of like, because I mean, like if you're like, say the election was bullshit, I would imagine you probably get censored, and that only leaves the people that agree with the government's media left.
Well, and that's why they're pushing censorship. They're still trying to keep people, off of mainstream media. Like you're allowed to question certain things that they're basically once the government conspiracy has served its purpose, they'll admit it. Like they did with, Halsey, you were talking about the job creation numbers were revised down by over 1 million jobs.
Yeah, but it went from 1.2 million to 10,000.
Right.
Like that's such a radical lie.
Right, but it did. But the point is, it did what it was supposed to do. The idea was to inflate the economy to make it seem like it was better than it was to help the Democrats in the midterms. Now that the midterms are over, they can come clean and admit, "Oh yeah, we lied about that. Oh yeah, the Hunter Biden laptop, it was real. I know we lied about it and we infiltrated all these social media companies to suppress it because we didn't want Joe Biden to lose." But now that he's won and the midterms are over, now we'll admit it's real. In fact, that's old news. Why are we even talking about this? That's so long ago. So they come clean once. So there's certain conspiracies like the Wuhan lab theory and mask mandates and all. That's fine. They'll come clean about that because that's over and done with. They got what they wanted. They can let that go. But they're not going to let go of the things that are basically their active operations. They're not going to admit to that. And they're still pushing shit. They're still pushing shit. And it just baffles me that like people still believe them. And even if they claim, like if you ask the American people, do you trust the media? I think it's like maybe single digits people will trust the media. But yet whenever the media tells you something, you believe it and you obey it and you act accordingly, despite you admitting you don't trust them.
Well, they just want to be part of the herd.
Well, they just conform. Like that's just the default mode for NPCs. They just conform. So if they see people doing A, they're going to do A too. They're not going to think. They're not going to be critical. They're not going to plan. They're just going to conform to what the group is doing, and then cry about it later. So that is what's going on. So anyway, so that's what's going on with the yen. The dollar is not a safe. I don't know who needs to hear this. The dollar was never a safe haven. The dollar was never a hedge against inflation, you dumbass. The worst assets to hold during inflation are dollars and bonds. They're the worst fucking things you could possibly invest in during inflation. And people are like, oh, deflation's around the corner. No, it isn't. No, it fucking isn't. How many fucking consecutive months in a row do these people have to be wrong before you stop listening to them? Anyway, all right. That was fun. That was therapeutic. All right, before we move on, we got some... Let's change gears. Let's do some super chats. Just kind of keep the queue moving along.
Bonesmo donated $5. I was thinking the other day that many philosophers in the past like Nietzsche lamented the advent of so-called nihilism, in the sense that life has no longer a direct, clear meaning and objective for the individual and society to strive for. But can the opposite be true? Can having too much meaning, certainty, the sense of objectivity also be harmful? Perhaps some examples could include fundamentalist religious people who vehemently declare every other path to be evil and wrong?
That's not... Yes, well, you're confusing a couple things. Having a very dogmatic, concrete view of good and evil doesn't necessarily translate to meaning. So you can have, like, basically the true answer is, the real answer is you have to find your own meaning. You could, like, your purpose can be, like, your purpose is outward looking. Like, what you're good at, what value you bring to your fellow man, or what makes you happy. That's your purpose. But your meaning has to be derived internally. And the way to look at it is think of, like, art. the artist might paint a painting or might make a song, and they might that song, like a guy might make a song about being in love, and he might put some meaning into it based on his experience. You might listen to that same love song and get a completely different meaning from it. You might look at a painting and get completely different meaning than the artist. This happens all the time with movies, especially controversial movies like Blade Runner or Inception that have like open-ended endings, like where it's up to the interpretation of the viewer, like which ending, like is Deckard really a replicant or is he not a replicant? That's the point. Now, in those instances, what does it mean if Deckard is a replicant or not? What does it mean if Inception was a dream or not? That's completely internal to you. That's the purpose of art. Speaking of Nietzsche, not just Nietzsche, but I think also Schopenhauer and other philosophers have talked about how art is the expression of meaning. Because art is something we create from our internal world into the outer world. It's the only thing we create. Everything else is a product of the outer world kind of replicating itself. Even reproduction. Like our bodies, we come in a girl's pussy and a little miniature version of ourselves come out of her vagina. That's the external world kind of doing its own thing. But our internal world stays within our internal world until we create art. Creating art is a way to express our internal world into the outer world. So, anyway. I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, the point is, when we had religion, we had very concrete definitions. We had a ready-made project. Like, you were created for this. This is the meaning of your life. This is what's expected of you. Do X, Y, and Z, and off you go. And that's fine. But the problem is clearly it doesn't take into account different values. It also doesn't take into account what really kind of killed that was the scientific revolution. And I'm not talking about like atheism and Darwin. I'm talking earlier than that with like Copernicus and Galileo. Just the advent of the scientific method. It started disproving these religious axioms that we took for granted. We all just assumed that these stories and things we were told were literally true. They're really like the sun was literally a god that watched over us, and their radiant light, made the plants grow. And it was all through the divine light of some sun god. And then we learned that actually the sun is a giant burning ball of gas. It's not a god. It's not living. It doesn't answer your prayers. And that created a vacuum because now we were responsible for that. Like before, we could just put all the responsibility for our lives onto a religion, a deity, a ready-made formula for life. And now we had to figure it out for ourselves. And as you probably noticed, people don't like responsibility. People look at investing. Investing's a perfect example. People want to set it and forget it. They want to hire someone. They want to hire an advisor. They want to hire a hedge fund manager. They want to hire someone to manage their money for them because it's too much work. But it's not too much work. If you've been following the Monkey's Mark a minute, it's not too much work. What's the real issue? It's not the work. It's the responsibility.
Easy.
It's the responsibility that people don't want. It's not the amount of work it takes to manage your own money that causes people to run away and hire someone. It's that they want someone else to get mad at. They want someone else to be responsible for their money so that if they lose money, they can get mad at them. But if you manage your own money, you can only get mad at yourself. And people want to avoid responsibility. They want a government. They want a professional. They want a God that they can point to and say, this is your fault. You did this to me. Because they don't want to point at the mirror. They want to point the finger at themselves and take responsibility for their lives. And this is a very human thing. Like, responsibility it's painful. Like, that's why we feel nostalgic for when we were kids. We all want to go back to the days of Saturday morning cartoons and where we didn't have to worry about bills and going to work, and we just got up and we hung out with our friends, and we played Super Nintendo, and we drank Capri Suns, and that was life. That was all life was, not a care in the world. And we want to go back. Part of us wants to go back to that land of lack of responsibility. Being an adult is great. You can do whatever you want, but now you have to balance that with your responsibilities. You have to pay your bills. You have to make responsible choices. You have to think about the future. It's very stressful. And that's what freedom is. Freedom is responsibility. That's why people don't like freedom. All right. Okay, one more, then we'll move on.
But World's Man donated $5. Reminder that the clown world meme is society's observation of the symptoms of the cancer that is progressivism, wherein ideological adherents of the progressive empire put feelings before facts and preserving the narrative instead of accepting, and reacting to, the reality. This results in a dissonance between how you expect normal, rational people to act and what they actually do. Honk honk.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is when it comes to every other field of science, we have clear-cut rules for efficiency and basically best practices. So when we're dealing with inert matter, when we're dealing with chemicals, we're dealing with single-celled organisms and diseases, we know exactly what the right answer is. When it comes to people, because of feelings, we don't have, like, we could come up with, if we were like an alien species and we were diagnosing humans, we would weigh the different metrics and we would come up with an objectively best practice when it comes to dealing with human society. But humans themselves, because they're riddled with feelings and values, there is no objective best practice. Like I'll give you a very clear example. So I talk about the political trichotomy. You have freedom, you have equality, you have stability. In reality, the actual objective reality is that equality does not exist. So to hold the value of equality is to live in a fantasy world. Also, stability is an illusion. Basically, you can be stable for a while, but the more you tighten that grip, the more people are going to turn against you, and eventually this society that is all built about stability will always crumble. So you have basically fantasy on one side, and you have illusion on the other side. The only thing that's actually real is freedom. Because that's the default of nature. Nature is free. There's no artificial constraints unless we create them. So if you were an alien species and you were looking at what should human society do as an unemotional third party, you would not side with the left or the far right because those are illusions and bullshit. But when you're living on the ground in it, you have all these people with their feelings and values and preferences, and they want to live the way they want, and it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's not our problem. If you want to live in a land of make-believe, that's fine. Go live in your land of make-believe. And then when you try to come out of that land of make-believe because make-believe didn't work out for you, I'm just going to laugh at you and point out that you did this to yourself. Like feminists who want to bitch about trans women invading their female spaces. Like, there was no demand for female sports in the first place. These fucking feminists demanded that opportunities be taken away from men. There's documentaries about this. When they created Title IX, they shut down male sports that were profitable. Male sports that were actually bringing in fans and money to the college.
What's Title IX?
Title IX is basically everything has to be equal in college. And so if you have a male league, you have to have a female league. So not that many women want to play sports. Yeah, it's retarded. So what they did was they had to shut down numerous male leagues in order to have like all these girl leagues where they don't do anything, and then they had to create female versions of all the major sports. Well, not all the major sports. There's no like female football or anything, but you have like the WNBA. I think that's about it, actually. There's like WNBA. What other female sports are there? Yeah, female soccer. Female sports.
Volleyball.
Badminton. Yeah, these world champion female athletes can't even beat the varsity high school team or the JV team. They can't even beat 15. They can't even beat 15-year-old boys who aren't even done growing into adults at this point. They're still in like middle school or like middle of high school. So that's female sports. It was always a joke. It was always just welfare for women who don't want to basically accept reality. And now that trans women are invading their spaces, now they're crying about how trans women aren't real women. Now they want to live in the real world again. I don't know why this alarm's going off. I apologize. So if I get a phone call, I might have to like, because it's saying I have. It's saying I have an appointment, but I don't have an appointment. So I don't know what. If someone calls me, I'm gonna have to like mute the mic and deal with it or something, because I don't have an appointment right now, so they need to fuck off. Anyway, so trans women invade female spaces. Now women want to argue about they're not, according to science and according to reality, these aren't real women. Well, no shit, they're not real women. But you're not equal to men either. So you can't live in a land of make-believe for 100 years and then cry about how these men want to LARP as women, and that's not right because they're not really women. You're not really equal. So you either got to pick one. Are we going to live in the land of reality where women aren't equal to men and we shut down female sports and you go fucking bake a cake or something? Or are we going to live in the land of make-believe where women can pretend to be athletes, but also men can pretend to be women? Because who are you to say, oh, I get to live in my land of make-believe, but I don't like these other people living in their land of make-believe because that affects my land of make-believe. Well, that's how make-believe works. It's like when two kids are having a make-believe fight. Like, oh, I shot you with my gun. Like, oh, I blocked you with my shield. Like, oh, but my gun goes around
my
shields.
Bullets go through your shield.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm bulletproof. Like, oh, well, these are magic bullets, and it just turned that. That's basically feminists arguing. That's feminists arguing with trannies. That argument between little kids having an imaginary fight about who would win. That's feminists and trannies arguing with each other about whose imaginary reality should win. So it's all everything is fake and gay. Everything. All right. All right. We'll do one more and then we'll move on.
But World's Man donated $5. Forgive me, monkey, for I will sin. Since UNG dropped so much, my broad commodity exposure is now worth more than 50% of my portfolio. I shall sell a bit, since it auto reinvests, and reorganize to benefit from the market's realization that winter exists. I'll pay penance and fix the proportions later, Father Monkey. Here's a tithe.
So I don't do rebalancing. Rebalancing is a gimmick, just so you know. Rebalancing, what it is financial professionals who don't do anything with your money. They put you in a model. So they have these pie charts about where your money's going to be allocated, like this much in stocks, this much in bonds. If you talk to a financial advisor and you're not like loaded for bear, they just put you in a model and they don't think about you. But then maybe once or twice a year, they want to meet with you to create the illusion that they haven't forgotten about you. Because look, realistically, you could do this shit yourself. You don't need to be paying these dipshits a 6% commission to put you in a fucking model. You could do that yourself for free. So to create the illusion of value, they call you in once or twice a year to meet with them, and they go over your portfolio and they rebalance your portfolio to pretend like they've done something. But it's all fake and gay. They haven't done shit. They're not looking out for you. They're not actively managing anything. Rebalancing doesn't increase your performance. Like, there's no point in rebalancing. If you do sector rotation, which is what I do, you don't need to worry about rebalancing. You shouldn't be rebalancing. You should be following the money. Following the money is how you make money. Rebalancing and diversity, that's bullshit. And you've seen this happen this year. But what was remember the whole 60-40 portfolio? You have 60% of your money in stocks, and then you have 40% in bonds. And when your stocks lose value, your bonds should go up, and you should blah, blah, blah. What happened? Stocks and bonds went down this year. The people in the 60-40 portfolios got their fucking milkshake drank. And then the people, like normally, the other thing is you have stocks, bonds, and gold. So you have your stocks, those are supposed to go up, but when they go up, oh, the bonds go up. But then when the bonds lose money, oh, the gold goes up. Well, guess what? Stocks went down, bonds went down, and gold's been flat. Gold hasn't been the hedge it's traditionally been. So all these people who put you in these set it and forget it passive portfolios that you trusted and paid a shit ton of commission to, they just took your money and didn't do shit. And this rebalancing shit, that's just a gimmick. It's a gimmick to create the illusion that they're doing something when they're not. Taking responsibility is the most life-changing paradigm shift you'll ever do. Take some ownership of your life. Take ownership of your shit and manage it yourself. Not only will you save all that money you were paying on commissions, you're going to get better results. It's not that hard. It's so easy. It just requires you to actually assume responsibility for it, because I'm up like 20% this year. I don't lose money. But the thing is you have to follow the money. You have to understand economics. It's not hard to understand economics. Anyone can learn it. It just takes a little bit of emotional maturity, and it takes a big heaping dollop of responsibility. And you too can manage your money and get better results than 99% of traders. It's not hard.
But that takes time, and I'd rather watch TV shows.
It doesn't take time. It just takes responsibility. We already established that. All right.
I mean, I started investing this year, and I've already almost got 40% gains. So it works.
Yeah. Now, depending on when you got in, you might be up higher or lower than me. I think last time I checked, I was at 20 something percent. So you might make more than me or less than me based on when you jumped in. Or also, I'm very conservative. I don't do leverage. I don't do margin. I don't do options. I don't use leveraged ETFs. I just do. I just go long. I don't short anything. So if you know what you're doing and you know how to use options and leverage and margin, if you want to do that, that's on you. But I don't do any of that, and I still outperform the market. It's not hard. Anyway, all right. Let's do some comparing and contracting. I guess contrasting, not contracting. Compare and contrasting. All right, we got two articles. They're from the same publication. I think they've been published the same day. So let's do a little comparison. So our first article is from thedailymail.com, and this is from December 19th, and the other one is from thedailymail.com, also December 19th. So let's go over the headline, and let's do a little comparison, and let's talk about, one of these strategies worked and one of these strategies did not work, and let's talk about that. So the first one from the Daily Mail, quote, self-styled doomsday prepper who let off homemade explosives in his garden walks free after telling he was getting ready for impending disaster and meant no harm. Simon Pilgrim, 41, was caught with improvised explosive devices in his bedroom. He searched YouTube for how to make a pressure cooker bomb and flamethrower. He told police he was trying to create a safer form of firework. He denied charges and walked free from the Old Bailey Monday, December 19th. So this motherfucker was learning how to make bombs and flamethrowers, but he didn't mean anyone harm, and nothing happened. I mean, obviously the police had some questions when he was exploding things in his garden, but, nothing ultimately happened to him. He's just a guy preparing for a disaster. Our second article from the same article publication from the same day, conspiracy theorist plotted to firebomb phone, TV, and radio masts because he believed Britain was controlled by Israel and COVID vaccines were a planned genocide as convicted terrorist faces jail. Oliver Lewin, 38, planned attacks due to opposing the Tory government. He tried to stir up a movement of individuals on the Telegram messaging site. He was found guilty at Birmingham Crown Court and will be sentenced next year. So what's different about these two people? What is different between Oliver Lewin, the convicted terrorist, and Simon Pilgrim, the guy who was making bombs and flamethrowers in his garden? Why did these two people...
One tried to oppose the government?
Yes. One, not just planning on destroying government property, but he was also on social media trying to get other people to join him. He was trying to stir up a movement on Telegram. So he's in jail and he's going away. And I don't think he didn't do any. I don't think he even did anything. He was plotting to firebomb, and a firebomb is just like a Molotov, We're not even talking about like something sophisticated as like a pressure cooker bomb. This motherfucker was making bombs. He's making a pressure cooker bomb and a flamethrower, trying to make like a better, safer form of firework in his garden. But he wasn't threatening anybody. He wasn't plotting anything. He was prepared, according to the article, he was getting ready for impending disaster and meant no harm. And he walked where Oliver Lewin is going away for a very long time because he wanted to destroy government property, and he believed that the government was being controlled by Israel and genocide. And here's the thing. Like, the COVID vaccine does have, like, it's causing gummy worms to kill people. The argument could be made that Israel has a disproportionate amount of influence over Western governments, commensurate with their size and what you expect their influence to be. However, where he fucked up was the whole destroying government property and trying to start a movement on Telegram. That's where the glowies got him. That, like, this is a teachable moment. Again, there's two men, both arrested under suspicion of domestic terrorism. One walked and one is going to jail forever because one was just a doomsday prepper. A doomsday prepper preparing for disaster, didn't mean any harm, wasn't plotting to overthrow the government, wasn't trying to start a movement on Telegram. Just a guy building pressure cooker bombs and flamethrowers in his garden, as one does.
He was just chilling out. He was just trying to grill. Why are you trying to make this guy a murderer? He's just trying to grill. Improvise, but grill. You know, there's nothing wrong with trying to grill. Nothing wrong with trying to have a good barbecue. But the thing where you fuck up is announcing your presence against the government. You want to slide under the radar. You want to be invisible.
I think you have an update about that teacher that got into a firefight with the cops in Australia last week.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, just so you know, though, the last line of the article said, the guy said, "I make small amounts. I don't want to make large amounts because that will get me into trouble." Like, that's usually going to be the case unless there's a specific law saying you can't do it at all, even in like these really fake and gay countries. Because if you make like a tiny amount of something, what could you have done with it anyway?
Well, right, but what you can do is you can perfect the method to create more.
Sure.
And then you can start.
You think they're not like constantly tapping this guy now to make sure that he's not,
right?
Getting ready
right, but you're not waiting. Look, you're not threatening the government. You're just like, look, you do you. You do your little thing. I understand you got bigger things to do. I'm not a threat to you. I'm just minding my own business. If everything goes to shit, I'm going to start whipping together some flamethrowers and pressure cooker bombs. But by that point, the government's like, I'm not going to overthrow the government. I'm just preparing for some shit happens. And I need to defend myself in a world with no guns and no knives and no narwhal tusks.
No walnut tusks.
I can't even have a narwhal tusk. That's how bad things are. Like, what am I going to do? Imagine some guy like, there's no guns, there's no knives, there's no narwhal tusks. He's got like a tiny, Swiss Army knife, and he thinks he's like king of the world. Motherfucker busts out with a flamethrower and a pressure cooker bomb. He's like, "Catch, motherfucker!" And he just starts turn up the heat. Whoosh, just catching everyone on fire.
No one else you did. I'm not. Actually, can they get sledgehammers still in Britain, or is that banned too?
They probably.
I'm sure you could get those.
You could probably get one.
You can get them. You need them for construction. You can definitely get them.
Well, yeah, but if you it's. I remember there was a story where everyone was buying baseball bats because it was like, it's considered sporting equipment. It's like one of the only weapons you can have. So everyone was like buying all these baseball bats because they couldn't have any real weapons. So which would you rather have, a baseball bat or a flamethrower? Like, I'm just saying. Anyway, the point is, but the point is he's preparing. He's not threatening anyone. He's not he's not part of some conspiracy group where they're getting ready to do the thing. He's just quietly preparing to protect himself, his loved ones, and his community. And he's fine. He's fine. He's not going to jail. Yeah, like what Halsey was saying, I guarantee they're going to be watching him. He's on a list. We're all on a list. But as long as we don't actively threaten the government, we should be fine. I mean, fingers crossed, knock on wood. But we're not.
I'm definitely on a list.
Basically, what they're looking for is somebody who's trying to form a conspiracy to overthrow the government, or at least to attack. Like the guy in the second article, he was going to destroy TV and radio masts, and he was going to firebomb phones, and he was going to do a lot of infrastructure damage. Now, is this any different than what Black Lives Matter or Antifa were doing? No, but they were on the right side of history, i.e., they were controlled opposition. So the left can do all this stuff because the left, they control this. When the left wants to do a little domestic terrorism, they can, and no charges will be filed. But actually,
they can get mostly peaceful anytime they want.
Well, and what's interesting is there actually have been some Antifa protesters who basically went off script and they went a little bit too far, and they're being arrested. They're going to jail. So, but if you're part of Antifa or Black Lives Matter or any kind of leftist agitator group, as long as you follow the leaders who are being told what to do by the cathedral, no charges will happen. Now, if you go off script and you start like shooting cops or, attacking federal buildings, there might be consequences for you. But, that's a leftist thing. Now, if you're not a leftist, none of this applies to you. You can't do any of that because the right, they are themselves controlled opposition. So what you can do is you can prepare yourself, your loved ones, and your communities. That's all you really can do. If you try to whip together a movement on Telegram, you're going to jail. Even if you didn't do anything. Like this guy, he plotted. He didn't do anything. He wasn't building firebombs. He was just at the plotting stage. That was enough. He's sentenced, he will be sentenced next year. He's in jail. He's done. He's done. Whereas the guy who's actually like building bombs, he's fine because he was just perfecting the formula. He wasn't going to start mass producing them. He's just a guy going to protect himself in case shit goes down. That guy's going to be fine. And he's no threat to the government either, because one of two things are going to happen. Either like shit goes absolutely fucking sideways and it's every man for himself, in which case this guy's going to be like the savior of his community, or the government has total power and everyone's a slave, and then they can come for him later. They'll come for him last, once it's time for everyone to get into their bug pod. But he's not a threat to them now. He's not going to get in the way of their plans in any way, so who cares? Let him do what he wants. As long as he doesn't hurt anyone, who cares? So there you go. A little compare and contrast between a guy, a doomsday prepper, and a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist who's now going to be a convicted domestic terrorist. Don't be that guy. All right.
Okay.
What's up?
Oh, well, you said you wanted to talk about the Australian thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, it was not confirmed, but it was either a hit by the New South Wales sort of government arm that was reaching up from New South Wales into Queensland, or it was like, because you have to remember, this teacher, this guy, right? He was. He was basically trying to call out corruption in the education department and the New South Wales government department, like the collusion between those two, right? And basically that pissed off the New South Wales government because he worked for a very prestigious school, right? And they didn't want to they didn't want to tarnish the school's reputation. So basically, he got put on administrative leave. And essentially, when he got put on administrative leave, he's like, "Fuck it." This was like last year, middle of COVID. Like, he didn't want to take the jab. He didn't do it. Like, he didn't want to do any of that, right? So like, he started waking up when the people around him started dying. His family got sick, all that sort of stuff. So he lost his teaching sort of position. He lost his principal position, right? And then he's like, "Fuck this shit." going up to Queensland to live with my brother, and we're gonna plan shit, and we're gonna live off grid, do all that sort of stuff. So basically, the New South Wales police kept harassing him through the Queensland Department of the Police. Basically, they were doing welfare checks every couple of weeks. Now, if you don't know what a welfare check is, it's basically when the police come to your house. They be like, oh, hey, can we look around? Can we check on the people living here, making sure that they're you basically do it for child child protective services and stuff like that, like a welfare check. But they can do this to anybody, right? Because neighbors can report shit for being off or whatever. So basically, they were harassing this guy and the people there, the brother, the husband, and then the wife as well, because they were under the guise of protecting the wife or some shit. So basically, long story short, the Queensland police were harassing him constantly for months on end. He's like, fuck it. So then he started uploading videos detailing what was happening, to him and the people around him. And basically, he made this one video where it was if the cops keep showing up at the place, they're not going to return home, basically making threats and shit. So essentially, it must have got too much. And basically, when these 4 cops rocked up to do a welfare check, quote unquote,
they got their shit rocked.
They got their shit rocked. But not only did they get their shit rocked, but one of the cops was killed from 150 meters away. Just got domed from 150 meters away. And yeah, I don't know how they managed to spin because on the day, I remember this clear as day. On the day, they were saying that a New South Wales teacher was had kidnapped somebody, and basically that's why the cops were showing up.
They were doing damage control. We knew it was bullshit because it didn't make sense. I guess what happened, though, is the YouTube videos surfaced. So I don't know if they had those set to scheduled, they published them after they died, because they were all killed. But apparently the videos either then were...
Fire... No. So I actually got a hold of this video. And basically, this was uploaded. It's time captured and stuff like that. So you see the upload date and shit like that. So basically, the upload is them in the house talking to the camera in the dark after they've killed the police officers. So the firefight went on. You have to remember, the firefight with the special operations unit went on for 6 hours. 3 people versus 28 special operations officers, right? And that lasted for 6 hours. So they managed to make a video, upload it, right? In rural Australia. I don't even know how they got a signal out there with the power being cut, right? But basically, they managed to upload a video describing what was going on. I can't find the video today. All I have is a still image of the video. But yeah, that video is somewhere, and I would love to get a hold of it. But essentially, yeah, they managed to upload a video detailing it. They were going to be like, yeah, we're going to be home soon, blah, blah, blah. Basically talking to their dead, family members. Essentially, they were, resigning to the fact that they're going to die. So, ultimately, it's not a psyop, but it's definitely an excuse to crack down on conspiracy theorists and preppers and that sort of dissonant, people who want to go off grid and fuck off out of the system. That this is a warning for those people to don't do that.
Well, basically, the police department was harassing this dude. That happens all the time.
Right, but it happens all the time. Whenever there's a whistleblower, a whistleblower will blow the lid off some police corruption, the cops will go to his house and give him parking tickets or something. The government knows they have 1,001 ways to fuck with you. I remember when the Tea Party was a thing in America, they got audited by the IRS every year that they existed. So it's the government just knows that, they have these tools to basically punish you for being impudent Like, how dare you point out my corruption? I'll show you. And they'll have cops harass you. They'll audit you. They have 1,001 ways just to fuck with you. Like they'll nickel and dime you and just inconvenience you. This is what COVID was about. Like, they didn't force you to get the vaccine, but, you couldn't work in these industries, and you couldn't travel, and you couldn't visit relatives in the hospital, and they just basically inconvenienced the shit out of you. So you're like, fuck it, give me the gummy worms. Just pump them into my veins. Because it was just,
That's the thing, right? Like, so these people, like, they actually had it in the first article. I remember they've scrubbed it all now, but they're being like, they were saying like, essentially they frequented online groups that spread misinformation about COVID and vaccine hesitancy, as well as extreme misogynistic views. I'm like, were they a part of the audience? What the fuck?
Well, and the Prime Minister of New Zealand. I haven't verified this quote, so it might be forged. I don't fucking know. But there's a thing where it says that she's basically saying it's encouraging family members to turn in their relatives who are critical.
Real. That's real.
So, okay, all right, it's real. So if you're critical of the government's response to COVID, like concentration camps, you're a domestic terrorist, and your family should turn you in.
Not only that, in Australia we had it reach the Senate floor. Basically, there was a bunch of people railing against like putting the unvaccinated on registries and stuff. Like, they were saying that anybody who isn't vaccinated needs to be put on a registry so the vaccinated people know to stay away from them. Like, and that was like 2-3 weeks ago. It's been pretty buried, but
yeah. So
I
now,
well, it's obviously bullshit. But the whole point of a vaccine is to be protected from the disease.
So here's the thing, guys. Here's the lesson learned. You don't dox yourself. Look, and also, like, this guy, he was a whistleblower. He was a teacher from a prominent school. What did he accomplish?
He was a principal, actually.
He was a principal. A principal. Like, remember, like, the reason why people kissed Jordan Peterson's ass, despite him being a broken shell of a man, is because we basically elevate public servants as like the paragon of truth. So if you're a professor or you're a doctor or a scientist or a principal, you're an authority, and that's why. Supposedly your word has more weight than some random dipshit on the internet. However, so he used his authority as a prestigious school principal to try to blow the whistle on corruption. Was the corruption fixed in any way?
Hell no.
Hell no. All it did, it got him harassed until he snapped, and then it got him and his family killed. So this is your kind of alert. This is your, let me do the box news alert. I haven't done that in a while. Might as well break it out now. All right, this is a box news alert. You live in a corrupt country. Your government is corrupt. They don't give a fuck about you, and they are actively killing citizens with some kind of fucking World Economic Forum depopulation agenda. Okay, there is nothing you can do to stop that. Nothing you can do. It's going to happen. And if you're in a position of any kind of authority, and you are a threat, the government will crush you. They will stamp you out of existence if you pose a threat to them. So you need to let go of the empire. I talk about how the way Majorian fucked up is, instead of trying to pull his forces back to Italy to consolidate in Rome, he spread his forces thin, and he's trying to hold the empire together. He didn't want to let go of the empire, and then his forces were betrayed. That was the end of Majorian. That was the end of the Western Empire. It was only a hop, skip, and a jump, and then Rome collapsed. So don't do that. You need
just walk away. Don't talk to the normies, because they're not gonna believe you anyways.
Well, you could talk. You could talk to the normies anonymously. This is why they really, really want to get rid of internet anonymity. They're actively pushing to end internet anonymity, particularly in Europe, because they don't like that people can wake each other up and help each other anonymously, because they want to identify people so they can do what they did in Australia. So the time will soon be upon us where we can't help each other anymore. We'll have to just part our ways and do the best we can on our own, and hopefully enough of us survive and come out the other side of whatever is going to happen, and we can build a better future together. But there's nothing we can do. I think the last couple of years should be very clear that the normies aren't waking up to jack shit. Like, if they are not awake yet, they're never going to wake up. And even the people who are awake about COVID, they're still talking about getting them in 2024. They're still talking about, we need to drop the pro-life agenda and run to the left to become more politically viable. Like, you people are retarded. Like, look at... I saw... Oh, hold on. I saw this thing from Trump. So, mail-in voting is now the vast majority of voting. It went from like 5% absentee voting to like 80% of the vote is through mail-in voting. What? That is like... You can't not have stolen elections when 80% of the vote is through mail-in voting, which have the wrong address, the wrong signature. Like, they're clearly fraudulent, but you can't prove it, and they count them anyway, and it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And there is literally nothing you can do about that, because just like with women's rights, how are you, like, the left is in power indefinitely at this point. They're never going to lose an election because they can steal any election they want thanks to mail-in voting, which was passed during a crisis during COVID. Oh, we got to have mail-in voting because, got to get Orange Man out. And like Trump was talking about how the Republicans need to do ballot harvesting and mail-in voting as good as Democrats. Like, you can't out steal elections better than the Democrats.
Yeah,
like,
all the government employees they're
yes,
leftists.
They're all leftists. What do you think the deep state is? If the right tries to ballot harvest and like the left does, the right's going to get the deep state is going to investigate the right ballots. Like, any ballot harvesting the right does are going to be under intense scrutiny, and they're going to convict them of voter fraud. But the left will
throw in some more fraudulent ballots and say, "Hey, look at what else we found here."
Right. So the left can do it, but the right can't. That's been the case. My point is, just like this teacher in Australia who tried to do the right thing, got him and his family killed and accomplished nothing. And no, he's not even a martyr. He's not even going to be like a symbol of anything. He was just brutally murdered as a domestic terrorist, and that's the end of his story.
Yeah, he had his hockey mask time.
Yeah, do not... Like, if it's hockey mask time, it's hockey mask time. But hockey mask time is not a good day. That basically means you're fucked, and you either go out with a bang or a whimper. That's the last choice you have. You do not want it to be hockey mask time. You want to avoid hockey mask time at all costs. And the way you avoid hockey mask time is going back to our other article about the doomsday prepper. You want to prepare without posing any threat to the government. You're not opposing the government. You're not conspiring to do anything. You're just preparing to protect yourself and your family and your community, and that's it.
Fly under the radar.
And as far as the government being corrupt, yes, the government is corrupt. There's nothing we can do about that. We can't save the... In fact, this corrupt system doesn't deserve to be saved. So, it's
going to go down one way or the other.
Just let it fall. It's going to fall. Let it fall. Protect yourself, your family, and your community. And that's completely legal. It's completely legal to just protect yourself, your family, and your community. Don't plan any activities against the government. They're first of all, they're watching everything you do. They will crush you. They will murder your family, and you will accomplish nothing. So just let it, whatever is going to happen, let it happen. Just protect yourself, your family, and your community.
And anything that you try to do that is effective, your own side is likely going to throw you under the bus, if you know what I mean by quote-unquote effective.
Oh, no, you're right. You're completely right. The larger right wing, like the right wing is already is already trying to pressure the GOP to abandon the pro-life agenda entirely because they are blaming the 2022 midterms on abortion. And they're completely ignoring the giant mail-in voter fraud elephant in the room. They're just because they can't do anything about it. So like, well, how do we get people to vote for us? Like, you can't do shit. It's over. Elections mean nothing now. You can't have 80% of the vote.
A political viable option.
Yeah, you can't have 80% of the fucking votes be mail-in voting and have anything other than massive voter fraud. And you can't use voter fraud too. You can't try to out-fraud the left because the deep state are the ones who count the votes. So it's over. It's just over. There's nothing left to do. You tried your best and you failed miserably. Now it's time to like as long as you keep, and I understand like, oh, you're giving up, TFM, you're giving up on America like you gave up on women because you want to fuck a doll. Here's the thing. When you're fighting a battle you can't win, not only are you throwing your life away, you're wasting the time and energy and resources you could have to have a real impact. Protecting again, look at the Dark Ages, look at Bajorian, look at the fall of Rome. There were things that, especially Bajorian, could have done that would have prevented the Dark Ages from happening. He could have prevented the Dark Ages from happening, but in order to do so, he would have had to give up the Empire. He would have had to let the far-flung reaches of the Empire go and consolidate the Roman forces back in Italy. If he did that, he could have resisted the barbarians who ended up destroying the Roman Empire and crowning themselves king. And in the end, that's what happened anyway. The Roman Empire fell, you had the barbarian kings, and that was kind of the beginnings of Europe. But that happened anyway, and all Majorian did by trying to hold the empire together is he just destroyed what little chance that Europe had to avoid a Dark Age. That's what we're talking about here. So you could be like, oh, you're giving up. Like, no, I'm trying to preserve what can be preserved. The empire is going to fall. You can't save it. But you can save civilization from... You could prevent society from regressing 1,000 years back to mud huts. We can do that. That's worth something. And imagine if the Dark Ages didn't happen. Imagine if we didn't have to go from the fall of Rome to the Renaissance to rediscover the Greek and Roman technology, things like steam and everything like that. We could have had a huge technological revolution 1,000 years ahead of schedule. We could have, who knows what we could have at this point. The entire trajectory of the world would have been vastly different if Majorian had let go of the empire and saved Rome. So that's my advice. You call me black-pilled, call me a doomer, say I'm quitting.
Okay, doomer.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. I'm trying to do the most good with the time and energy and resources that I have. And I'm trying to help you do the same because that's all we can do at this point. We're not going to take back the country. We're not going to make America great again. I mean, we could make America great again, maybe the next cycle. The
right needs to give up this obsession of trying to take back the country and enforcing their will down everyone's throats.
It's not about that. We haven't. Not only do we not have the numbers. Basically, conservatives, because they're just fundamentally anti-revolutionary, they won't even do that anyway. The conservatives will never rise up against the government because they're conservatives. They're not revolutionaries. But the system cannot be reformed from within. It's too corrupt. So what you have is conservatives fighting to maintain the status quo for as long as possible at the expense of the future. They're making the exact same mistake Majorian made. They're trying to hold the empire together as it's collapsing. And they're going to get themselves and their families killed. That's all that's going to... I understand the desire to do so. You don't want to let go. You don't want to feel like you failed your ancestors. But imagine if Bajorian had held on to Italy and he could have rebuilt the Western Empire. He could have made it strong. And like you had Justinian from the Byzantine Empire who came west like a century or two later. But by that point, the Western Empire had been completely obliterated. There was nothing to rebuild anymore. It was too far gone. Had Majorian made different choices, the Western Empire could have linked up with the Byzantine Empire, and there could have actually been like a Renaissance that could have pushed back the Dark Ages. And it also would have prevented the Byzantines from collapsing. Because once the Western Empire fell, the Byzantines were stuck in Greece, and then they eventually fell.
I mean, they lasted quite a while.
They lasted
until the Ottomans eventually pushed their shit in.
Yeah, but they lost they lost their territory both west and east of Constantinople until they eventually got besieged and defeated. But if they had maintained the Western Empire, if the Western Empire hadn't fallen and disintegrated, it could have basically re-linked up with the Byzantines. They could have kept the middle part clear, and they could have maintained that area. Like it could have been great. It could have been a thing. It could have saved Europe from 1,000 years of fucking mud huts and pig shit.
Maybe, but like with all empires at that point, like the Western Roman Empire and eventually the Eastern were like full of corruption.
Right. Well, there's
worth saving at the end.
But what is But you got to look at the trade-offs. Yes, where the empires are always corrupt. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But look at what happened after they fell. Like the vacuum it created, the complete disintegration of standards of living and education and science. Like it just destroyed people's standards of living for 1,000 years. This isn't hyperbolic. There's videos talking about life in a medieval castle. Compare life in a medieval castle to life in Rome during the golden age of Rome, 1,000 years ago. In Rome, they had running water. They had indoor plumbing. They had sanitation. They had art and culture. In the medieval castles, they would put straw and flowers on the ground to cover up the human shit.
I didn't say it didn't second when it collapsed. I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's necessary to let things go for something better to take its place eventually.
But here's the thing. What caused the Renaissance was the rediscovery of what was lost during the Dark Ages. So it wasn't like things will eventually get better. They'll eventually get better when you rediscover that which was lost. But what if it was never lost? What if instead of it being suppressed or winnowed away or hidden away in some kind of monastery, it was actually never lost to begin with? You could have had sanitation and science and art throughout that period and even the aristocracy lived a lower standard of living than the average Roman citizen during the golden age of Rome. Like, it's just, you do the best you can. I'm not saying things are going to get better or things aren't going to get worse. They are. But you have to look at what you can do. What can you affect? What is in your control to affect? And what is not in your control to affect? You cannot save the empire. The empire is going down. And there's nothing we can do about it. Like, I tried. People don't even want to take women's rights away. They won't even do the bare minimum to raise their birth rates to save their people from extinction. That's too much work for them. So they'd rather start a race war than tell their women no. Like, these people are hopeless. So you can't save them. What can you save? It's not about giving up. It's about focusing on what you can save. It's triage. If a patient got a sucking chest wound and they're basically going to bleed out in a matter of minutes, you can't waste your time on them. It seems heartless, but you have to focus your time and energy and resources on the people you can save and the things you can do that are actually going to be impactful to the future. And you cannot save the system. You cannot save the normies. You can't clear up the corruption. Like COVID, the cat is out of the bag for COVID. People know the government lied to them. People know the government built concentration camps and forced vaccines down their throat that are killing children. All of this is already known. What possible corruption could you unearth that's going to wake people up? Where can you go from here? Like, you want to wake people, you want to wake the normies up? What could you possibly... People know about the pedophiles. Like, I'm telling you, There is no amount of corruption you can unearth and expose that's going to wake people up. They don't want to be woken up. They are willfully blind because they don't want to do anything, because they're conservatives. They don't want to admit the shit that's happening is happening because they don't want to do anything. They just want to grill. They just want to go to work. They want to pretend things are fine. You can wave, hey, look at the gummy worms, look at the gummy worms, look at this, look at the people, look at all the people dying, and they'll be like, oh, that's, that could be anything. That's climate change. I saw an article.
Long COVID.
I saw an article recently. A guy had a heart attack watching Avatar 2, and they're saying, oh, the excitement from Avatar 2 caused this guy to have a heart attack in the theater. And it's like, there's this,
a lot of coping, like, oh, it could be COVID.
I've seen Avatar 2. It's a fucking bore.
No, oh yeah, it's like 3 hours long. The point is there is. I understand dystopian fiction lied to you. We were all led to believe that if we exposed the truth, the people would go like, "Oh my God, I can't believe the government did that. We must rise up." And that's what always happens at the end of the story. The people rise up once the government conspiracy is exposed. Like the end of V for Vendetta. You have like the guy has this little chat, and then everybody puts on their Guy Fawkes masks, and they all march on Parliament. That isn't what happens, is it?
Yeah, you get the more Brave New World ending.
We're at
like,
there's
like
no 10 years before
V
for Vendetta movie.
Like in the Brave New World ending, basically two guys try to like rile up the population, and then the police with minimal effort just basically dispersed everyone. And that was the end of the story.
I think you're thinking of Fahrenheit 451.
Maybe. No, I think it was Brave New World, I'm pretty
sure.
So,
yeah, in Fahrenheit 451, this guy exposes the plot of the government to, like, rewrite history and bury the past by burning books. And he tries to expose them, and he just gets himself killed, and then they just cover it up, and everything goes on just like nothing ever happened. So,
from the book that I read, at least the abridged version, the guy actually gets away, and then they kill the scapegoat to make it look like the guy Montag is dead. But in reality, he escapes, and then he finds some people living on the outskirts, and they're saying, we're all going to memorize one book, so we'll all be the books, and we're going to pass down the knowledge so that the history is never lost.
All right, well, okay. Anyway, the point is like, you could have done that from the beginning. So had he just left and joined the outskirts and joined this community, he could have just avoided the whole plot of the book by just doing that instead of trying to like expose the corruption, because nothing ever came of it. That's the thing. Like, it sucks. It really sucks. But this is the way it is. And the people who aren't awake, they're willfully asleep. They are willfully blind to what's happened. They don't want to see it. It's like fucking a Clockwork Orange. You could hold their eyelids open and they will bite, kick, and scream because they don't want to admit that what they're seeing is real. So they will actively fight against you to preserve their blissful ignorance. They can't be woken up. They don't want to be woken up. So accept them. Just fuck them. They are not going to be woken up. You can't. There's nothing you can expose at this point that's going to wake people up who don't want to be woken up. So put that aside. You cannot wake up the normies. You can't take back the country. That should be very crystal clear at this point. So focus on what you can do. Focus on who you can save. That's the only thing we can do at this point. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were finishing. But yeah, if you want further proof of that, look at what's going on with Twitter right now. You see, Elon Musk is exposing the FBI and the government and all of the corruption in the government, regarding like election interference, the coups, the shots, all kinds of stuff. And people are still like following Elon Musk, that basically just to say, well, you're just an evil billionaire, and yeah, we don't like you. You should step down from Twitter. They don't care about the truth. No matter how many screenshots you show them, it's like Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled, because their values and their bias.
Well, not only that, here's what's even more interesting. Okay, so through the Twitter files, we know the government was colluding with social media to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop while Trump was president, which means they weren't doing it on behalf of the Republicans. This was the FBI going rogue to support an ideology or a party in opposition to their own. Like, you could argue, well, the FBI's job is to protect the government. They weren't protecting the government. They were protecting the Democrat Party, who weren't even in power at the time. So this isn't just the FBI being corrupt and they have an active political agenda. Now, that's why people don't care, because they have the same agenda. They like when the left cheats. They like when the left breaks the law and uses corruption because it benefits their side. That's all they care about. This is why when Trump won, they were terrified of fascism, because they love government power as long as it's their fascist. They don't care if the government is fascist as long as it's their fascist, promoting their ideology and their values. They don't care how authoritarian the government is. But the point is like, nobody in the Republican Party is talking about this. The media isn't talking about it. Not even Fox News. Fox News isn't talking about it. The GOP isn't talking about it. They don't care. Now, why don't they care? It's because they're part of the problem too. Everything is fake and gay. Fox News isn't your friend. The GOP aren't your friend. It's all fake and gay. Even when the corruption is exposed, the very people who you trust as the opposition to report on it, the people who you trust to be the oppositional party to, bang the gavel, and, now the Republicans control the House, I guess, so they could do something, but they're not going to do shit. They're not even talking about it. They're nowhere. They're talking about investigating fucking environmental groups for possibly affecting oil and gas companies, or, they're more. In fact, Mitch McConnell recently talked about the GOP's highest priority is fighting the war in Ukraine, getting more weapons to Ukraine. That's their highest priority.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
right.
Mitch McConnell just said it.
No, that's the point. There's the whole point of exposing all this corruption is completely meaningless when the very institutions and groups that you expect to pick up the fight. Because what can Elon Musk do? Yeah, he's rich, but what can he do? He can't. He's done everything he can. He's exposed the corruption. The Twitter files are basically the equivalent of the chat at the end of V for Vendetta. And you have the media, and you have the GOP, and you have the American people as a whole just collectively sighing and pretending just ignoring it. They don't care.
Or just getting angry because you're trying to.
Right. So look.
Fantasy.
So again, my message. This may be a bitter pill to swallow. You can call me a doomer if you want, but I'm actually trying to do the most good. I want you to give up on the empire, and I want you to save Rome. And Rome is you, your family, and your community. You can't save America. It's too corrupt, and no one gives a shit. You can save yourself, your family, and your community. You can do that. And look, communism doesn't work. I don't know if you've read a history book. It has a pretty significant, consistent track record. So all we have to do to win is not die. If we don't die long enough, our opponents will die because they don't understand, economics or how food works, and they will die. And then once we have better numbers, we can revisit our options. But right now, we don't have the numbers. And we have glowies up our fucking ass, like crawling all over us like fleas, mincing every word we say to try to look for some reason. The truth. Yeah, well, they're looking for an excuse, and I keep bringing this up. The war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, this huge infrastructure of counterterrorism that we built for 20 years has no function anymore, and they desperately need to find some terrorists to fight, or they're going to lose their job. Particularly with budget cuts and inflation, there's going to be a lot of pressure to cut some type of government spending, to cut some fat around the government budget because of the economy. So getting rid of these unneeded institutions and unneeded departments are going to be a pretty low-hanging fruit. And the only way they're going to protect their job is they got to find some terrorists. And they're not going to find them in mosques anymore. They're going to find them on right here. They're going to find them on Telegram. They're going to find them on Gab. They're going to find them on Getter. They're going to find them on Parler and all this shit. That's where they're looking for the terrorists. They're looking for people like you and me. And the only defense we have is to basically not be a threat. Well, not be a threat. Like, we're not a threat. We're not trying to overthrow anyone. We're just preparing. We're going to protect ourselves, our family, and our loved ones, and we're just going to quietly fuck off. And you know what? You can have the empire. It's all yours, buddy. Enjoy it. You know, fucking turn the lights off before you leave. Make sure you lock up. It's all yours. And we'll just...
I mean, I doubt that will matter to them. They'll find any excuse they can. They'll make one that they have to.
Well, you know, if it comes down to that and it's hockey mask time, then it comes down to that. But I would prefer to forestall the inevitable hockey mask day as much as possible. So there you go. All right, let's do a couple super chats and then we'll move on.
Vonesmo donated $5. Do you think the most radical of feminists, perhaps, are engaging in a sort of unconscious form of psychological projection due to lack of a protective and authoritative father figure early in psyche development? And to somehow make sense and cope with this feeling of helplessness, anxiety, alienation, they project their negative experience of men to the whole of male sex. And maybe particular elements of the globalist elite platform these feminists to neutralize men who can challenge them.
Yeah, you're giving them way too much credit. Women are not master manipulators who form complex systems. They're children. They're giant children who think like children and act like children. Yeah, when you spoil a child and they throw tantrums and say they hate you and get violent and angry, there's not like something deep and profound under the hood. They're just children doing childish things based on like what's happening to them. The more you give in to their demands, the more they demand because they want more. That's just how it is. So yeah, there is something to be said about kind of the shit test, which there's so women will shit test you. They'll try to test their boundaries and see if you'll stand up to them, and that'll kind of make them respect you or not. But there's also an unconscious shit test, and this goes back to the spoiled child. So children who are disciplined by their parents actually love and respect their parents, whereas children who are spoiled by their parents and given everything they want actually hate their parents. Now, they don't do this consciously. If you ask a child, do you really want a pony? They're not lying to you when they say yes. When you tell them to eat their vegetables and they get angry, it's not a show. It's just that there's a cause and effect relationship. If you set boundaries with children, they will eventually recognize that you're doing it in their best interest and that you love them and they'll love you back. If you give them whatever they want, they're gonna hate you. They're going to lose all respect for you and hate you. And women are no different. If you give in to all their demands, like, oh yeah, sure, you can fuck other guys. Sure, you can be open and OnlyFans. Sure, you can do whatever you want, babe. She's going to lose all respect for you and hate you and fuck other guys and laugh at you in front of your face. Unfortunately, because of feminism, they made it illegal for men to have any authority. Like, imagine being a parent and having a child demanding stuff. And if you say no to them, they're going to pick up the phone and have you arrested for child abuse. So your only choice is to give them what they want and spoil them or go to jail. In that environment, what could you realistically do to be a good parent? You can't. So all you can do is just stop having kids. Just until society collapses through lack of fertility, there's nothing you can do. Because these stupid laws were put in place that prevent parents from doing their job. And so society will have to slowly collapse because these retarded fucking laws. And that's what feminism is. So when you look at all this behavior from women, it's just the same as you would see in a child. And there's not like, you could kind of, look at it through some type of psychoanalysis and try to figure out the minutia of why this is happening or why that is happening. But if you want to understand it for the sake of like, well, maybe there's something we can do to like, get them to see. No, there's nothing you can do to get them to see. Try to convince a spoiled child to voluntarily submit to the authority of their parents when they don't have to. Go ahead. Figure out a technique, an argument, a point of evidence, a flow chart, a cartoon. Figure out a way to convince a spoiled child to voluntarily submit to the authority of their parents when they don't have to. And you get back to me when you figure that out, because that, my friend, is how you solve feminism. But if there's no way to do that, because children will always simply do what's in their best interest. They won't submit to authority unnecessarily. Well, then that won't work with feminism either. So trying to psychoanalyze them is a giant waste of time. They need their fucking ass whooped. That's how you solve the problem. But we can't. We can't whoop their fucking ass because we gave them rights. And men refuse to take their rights away. So here we are. We are at an impasse. Enjoy demographic extinction. This is what you chose. You chose this because you won't take women's rights away. So enjoy that. All right. Let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get back to it. So our sponsors are The Dollhouse, The Way of Monkey Book, Hardly Heroes by Shattermare Comics, and The Menu by Aaron Clary. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Yeah. So I wrote a book called The Menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex. And the reason I wrote it was so people wouldn't kill themselves. And that's it. That's basically it. Because whether you realize it or not, the West faces a huge existential crisis where feminism largely has convinced the entire sex to abandon the other sex. And I don't know if you paid attention to history, but that's largely why humans were here. And so every person, male and female, now faces this existential crisis. What do I live for? And that's the biggest challenge facing people today right now. Like, what do I live for in the West anyway? And so what I did is I came up with a list, a menu of everything life offers outside of the opposite sex. So one, you don't kill yourself. And two, you actually make your life on this planet count. So take a look at it. The Menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex, paperback, Kindle, audio, and hardcover.
War. War never changes. In the current year, women have declared war on men. Men are not only guilty until proven innocent, but they are not even allowed to prove their innocence. In response to this warfare waged by women, known as feminism, men have sought refuge with waifus, artificial women able to satisfy a man's need for love and sex. Retailers like the Dollhouse began to spread, bringing waifus to men everywhere, freeing them from the enslavement of feminism. Get your waifu today from thedollhouse.com or dc.dollhouse.com if you're in the United States, before they're banned by feminism so they can control men once more. Go to thedollhouse.com and dcdollhouse.com to find your waifu today, before it's too late.
Join our four main characters, Harbeck, Shump, Theron, and Salazar. This isn't your grandfather's adventuring party. Follow along as they encounter awesome enemies and questionable moral situations in the fantasy story of Hardly Heroes. We hope you'll fall in love with our plucky cast of characters as much as we did role-playing as them. And maybe they'll remind you of your favorite group of murder hobos. Maybe they'll be your favorite. They aren't the heroes this world deserves, but they are the heroes this world needs. They are Hardly Heroes.
Alright, we're back. Okay, so we got 17 super chats and we got 5 articles. So we're gonna have to power through some of this. Alright. So our next set of articles are going to be another comparison and contrasting of two different religions and two different examples of religions. So let's start with
hemispheres.
Yeah, so we have the super based and right-wing Catholic Church, which according to the mirror.co.uk just defrocked an anti-abortion priest who, he was very vocal about opposing abortion, and so he just lost and he got kicked out of the Catholic Church because there's I don't think the Bible says you can't murder babies. I think it's pretty.
The Catholic Church hasn't been based for a while now.
It's pretty ambiguous about the whole baby murder thing. So I don't think that. I think this priest definitely overstepped his bounds. Now this is the Catholic Church. This isn't like the one of the Protestant churches that have like gay lesbian priests. This is supposed to be the super based and traditional Catholic Church, but they just kicked this priest out for being too outspoken about abortion. And everyone in the comments, the people in the comments are defending this, saying that, like, yeah, he was being too political. He was opposing the Democrats and he was talking about politics, and that crosses the line. As if, like, left-wing churches, in air quotes, don't do the same thing. It's fucked up. But you want to know what's not fucked up? From BBC News, Afghanistan, Taliban ban women from universities amid condemnation. So they didn't.
I'm moving to Afghanistan.
They didn't just. So here's the thing. Like, I talk about how women need their rights taken away. People are like, oh, you mean their voting rights? Like, yeah, that's like the bare minimum. The bare minimum is you got to take their voting rights away. But that's not where you stop. If you actually want to get your birth rates up, you actually have to, like, kick them out of higher education and mostly out of the workforce.
Kick them out of workforce. Kick them out of education. And just look at the Amish. Once you pop 16, pull them out of school.
That's literally what they do in America. The basically Amish girls, once they basically
what do they do?
After middle school, they kick them out of school. Like, go get married. Like, you don't need a high.
Classic.
Like, yeah.
After a couple classes of cooking lessons. Oh, you're 16. Off you go.
Yeah, you know enough. You know enough to balance a checkbook and make a baby. It's time to go fucking fulfill your purpose. Whereas women are like, oh, and it's so dumb. You look at the statistics.
That's so based.
It's incredibly. But the point is, like, look at we send all these women to college, and they become doctors and scientists, and they quit because they'd rather, settle down and have a baby, and they never come back. There's a huge doctor shortage because they keep throwing money at women to become doctors in the name of diversity, and then these doctors keep burning out and leaving the profession after a couple years. So you could have trained a man to do that job, and he would have actually done it, but because of diversity, you took that opportunity away from him, gave it to a woman who then got burned out and quit because, they don't have the ability to handle stress the way a man does. And it's a giant, giant fucking money pit. And it creates shortages in critical industries, all because these women want to pretend that they're equal to men. And meanwhile, these women, they spend their, early 20s to 30s, getting their degrees and climbing the corporate ladder.
Getting their holes filled.
Yeah, and they don't have any kids. So not only are you destroying your productive sectors of the economy and creating job shortages in critical industries, you're also destroying your fertility rate. There's so many negative consequences to this fucking LARP of gender equality. It is just completely fucking negative across the board. And the worst part is, when you had patriarchy, women are happier. Like, self-reported happiness is higher in patriarchal countries. Now, what they do in Europe, like, they have these so-called happiness index. They don't actually track self-reported happiness. They track things like access to healthcare and gender equality. Like, they're basically leftist socialist bullshit. And they declare that Scandinavia is the happiest country on earth because they use these metrics that track things like access to healthcare and longevity and stuff that has nothing to do with happiness. Like, happiness isn't, do you have access to health care and, how generous is your welfare state? Happiness is a feeling. Ask people if they're happy. Look at the antidepressant use in Western countries. Does that look like happiness to you? Women are all fucking high on Zoloft and alcohol? Anyway, Women in patriarchal countries are actually have very high self-reported happiness. It's the strangest thing. It's almost like women have rape fantasies and like being dominated. Because they do,
Crazy.
And they admit it, but you don't believe them
and
because you're projecting.
Ashamed.
They're not ashamed.
It's the same for kids. Like, disciplined kids are tend to be more happier than the fucking spoiled ones.
Yes, this is universally observable. You look at children who are spoiled and get all their wants and desires immediately fulfilled by their parents, and ask them if they're happy. They'll say, no, I'm not happy. I only have one PlayStation 5. I wanted 3 PlayStation 5s. But then you ask somebody who actually, the parents love them and give them discipline. They're like, oh yeah, I'm happy. My family loves me. And, I'm so happy. It's the darndest thing. Anyway, the Taliban did the thing. They took women's rights away. They didn't just stop at their voting rights either. They kicked them out of the workplace, and now they're banning them from university. Now,
they didn't kick them out of the workplace. They just kicked them out of university.
Oh no, they already did that. So a couple months back. They basically what they did was they basically told these women who had these jobs, okay, we're going to send men to replace you. Make sure you train them before you leave. And that was it. They just kicked all the women out of. I mean, I'm sure there's some like women who are like, I don't know, have some kind of
female nurses, maybe.
Yeah. Like if a woman is
Muslim society lets them do.
Yeah, if a woman is like married to a doctor, she could be his assistant or something, but that's about it.
Also, it says here that following a new wave of restrictions on women in recent months, in November, women were banned from parks, gyms, and public bars. Crazy.
Yeah, well, it's not crazy. This is basically Afghanistan is the first country that fucking regained its sanity.
Well, they never lost their sanity. They just had feminists forced onto them by the U.S. And then as soon as the U.S. got its fucking shit pushed and kicked out, they basically just returned to normal.
So, like, now here's the key. I remember there was a story about this big feminist protest, and if you look that up, look up the story of the big feminist protest. The photographers, they're real close, and they're at like a downward or they're at an upward angle because they want to make it seem like there's this huge throng of women. It was like 7 women. There were more reporters reporting on the protest than women at the protest. And the leader...
Wait, what?
Yeah, there was a big... After the Taliban won and kicked America's ass, these feminists who basically had these positions of power through the Western-backed government, they did a protest. There were like 7 of them, and there were like 20 reporters, and they basically took all these misleading photo angles to make it look like there was this huge gathering, but it's literally just like 7 women. And one of the leaders of those women was found like the next week with her body so riddled with bullets, they had to use dental records to identify it. And nothing happened. Not a goddamn thing. Women did not rise up. Women did not like go on a sex strike. Nothing happened. Nothing. Nothing.
I mean, the ones that got too uppity got rid of the bullets, and the rest quickly fell into the line.
So this let's compare and contrast again. We have the Catholic Church, the bedrock of Western religion, the most based and patriarchal and traditional of all Western denominations, defrocking a priest for being too outspoken about murdering babies. And then we have the Taliban taking their women's rights away. Which of these 2 religions has a future? I'll let you figure that out.
Islam is the future.
Look, there's nothing. I'm not saying every denomination of Christianity needs to follow suit, but why is it?
Yeah, I mean the Amish and Mennonites have it all figured out.
Why is it just the Amish? Why can't there be a mainstream like the Catholics or the Orthodox? Some type. I'm not talking about the Protestants. They're fucked. I'm talking about the mainstream, right-wing, tradition-based. Why are they defrocking priests for speaking out against abortion and not standing up for their fucking traditions like they're supposed to.
They're progressives too.
Well, you know what? Maybe, I don't know. I guess
think about it, like
start praying to Mecca. I guess
most conservatives are just former lefties that were basically things got too far left for their personal tastes.
Yeah, but I understand most. Again, I'm not talking about the Protestants and the Lutherans and all those, the evangelicals. They're beyond hope. I'm talking about Orthodox, Catholics, the Christians who belong, even the Mormons. The Mormons used to be based on what? That's an open question. But they used to actually have patriarchy, and they really pushed family values, which is just another way of saying patriarchy. And they kept women in their place, and then they completely cucked out, within the last 10 years. And their birth rates went from an average of 4, which I would say is a pretty respectable birth rate, to basically no different than the general population in less than 10 years. And it was because the church leadership came out and endorsed feminism. They endorsed women working outside the home. They endorsed gender equality. All the based and patriarchal stuff, poof, gone. And now, this happened this year, now they're pro-LGBT. Just fucking imagine.
I mean, is that just one sect, or is that the entire organization?
Well, it's the one that doesn't have multiple wives, the main one. There's the main one out of Utah, and there's the ones with the compounds who fuck kids. So they're both fucked in their own little way. But the thing is you went from being based and patriarchal and having a birth rate of 4. In fact, there were articles talking about how America's going to be Mormon in 100 years because of this birth rate. And then within 10 years... Well, no, there's more Mormons because the Mormons convert. Amish don't convert; they just have lots of kids. The point is, though, it only took 10 years, and they were probably threatened to take their not my tax exempt status. Oh, if you take that away and I have to pay taxes, oh boo hoo. So what? You're gonna just completely cucked? I mean, I'm pretty sure, I haven't read the Bible in a hot minute, but I'm pretty sure it pretty explicitly says those who fear man more than God go to hell. I'm pretty sure if you cuck to the government because they threaten your tax exempt status and you completely cuck out to feminism and globo homo, I hope for your sake God doesn't exist. Because if he does, you're going to go fucking straight to hell for what you just did.
It is very clear about the publicans, which are the tax collectors, and how they are heathens, yes, and how you shouldn't be pleasing them, yes.
Well, it talks about fearing man more than God. Basically, if you fear the government, if you fear reprisals from the government more than God, then you're not worthy of shit. So yeah, kudos to this priest who just lost his, got kicked out of the church for doing the right thing. Kudos to him. Kudos to the Taliban. Boo to Mormons for cucking to feminism and globo homo. Boo to the Catholics for cucking to the abortion lobby and because you don't want to lose your tax exempt status. Boo. 1,000 boos on you. Boo.
Well, the good news is in 215 years, apparently the Amish are going to have more people than are currently in the U.S.
A lot of shit's going to happen. That could be true. That could not be true. We'll see. All right.
Let's keep moving.
Living in Amish paradise, I suppose.
All right. Next article from thedailymail.com. Court orders airline to pay for psychotherapy for Brazilian plus-size model who was stopped from boarding because she was too big for her seat. Now, this article requires a little. We got to check this shit out. So
that's a lot of cucking I'm hearing.
Well, let's see it. All right. So imagine you're an airline, and this walks in.
Oh, what? I was kind of expecting worse.
This is 2 women. I mean, she could fit. 2 women could hide behind her without even crouching down, just by standing. She could hide 2 people. She could smuggle 2 women behind her in a large trench coat.
Yeah, she's gonna have to raise up the armrests and take up 2 seats.
Yeah, she would have to take.
She's so fat she can't actually board the plane. The door isn't big
for
enough for
whoever's sitting next to her. It doesn't matter being a random passenger and like another, like you're in like a 3-seater, and one is already taken, and then you see this thing coming to walk to sit next down to you, and you're like, oh.
Well, so here's the like, fat people have been complaining about this for a while because they get charged for 2 seats and all that. And it's like, yes, I don't know how you think air travel works, but it's all based on weight. The seats are the way they are because they want to fit as many people as possible. If you're morbidly obese, you can get a first class ticket that has bigger seats, or you could get two tickets. But if you can't even fit in the fucking door, like you cannot fit in the door of the plane, like your fucking jelly rolls are scraping the door like a fucking, like a car trying to, like, you know, grinding between 2 slabs of concrete. Like, what do you want them to do?
Like, grind in. Like, she literally could not fit in the airplane.
Yeah, so you can't fly. You're too fat to fly. Now, so here's the thing. They could, if there was enough demand, if fat people were willing to pay more, I could easily see airlines, if there was demand for it, they could have fat-friendly airlines. They could have fat-friendly seats. The problem is fat people are generally on fucking welfare and disability, and they can't afford first class. They certainly can't afford two tickets, you know, to pay twice as much as someone who isn't morbidly obese. Now, she's apparently some type of fat influencer. She's like apparently a Brazilian model. I'm assuming she's a before model. She's the person who's like, she's holding the tape measure across her muffin top, and then they find some thin girl to like stand next to her holding like giant pants open, and then she's like pointing down, and she's like the after picture. I assume that's what kind of model she is. She's the before model for all these weight loss pills. Anyway,
she needs to go in the cargo hold. That's where she belongs.
No, the problem is most fat people aren't models. And I don't know how much modeling work she does or what kind of income it brings in. She might be a model on Instagram, which is basically completely meaningless. It's like saying you're a soldier in Modern Warfare 2. It's not real. You're not really a soldier in Modern Warfare, and you're not really a model if you have an Instagram account and people follow you. That doesn't make you a model. A model basically models products. So if people give you products to wear and you take pictures of yourself wearing said products and they pay you, then you're a model. If you have an Instagram account with a lot of followers because you eat yourself to death, you're not a model. You're just Nikocado Avocado. You're like that fucking guy from Seven who's eating himself to death. That's all you are. That's not a model. You're just you're a circus freak. People are paying to watch you eat yourself to death. But most fat people are just on welfare. They're just disabled people on welfare because getting fat and being disabled is easier than working.
And not just that, like apparently she demanded the airline pay for her therapy.
Right. No, and the court agreed. The court is ordering the airline to pay for her therapy. So I don't know what kind of therapy that is. Like, okay, like, are you going to like hypnotize her? Are you going to convince her she can fit in an airline door? Because she can't.
Will consist of weekly therapy sessions worth €63 for a period of at least 1 year.
Right. It's a shakedown. So what you're going to have is fat people. It's like how people in wheelchairs, what they do is they find businesses that don't have ramps. Maybe they live in they work out of a historic building, and they don't
go
have
out of their way to find that one place.
Yeah, they find one place that doesn't have a handicap accessible ramp, and then they sue them under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, I heard about one case where this happened. There was a gym. They built a gym, and a guy in a wheelchair. So they held birthday parties on the top floor, but the only way to get there was with a staircase. It was a gym. They didn't have an elevator. They were a gym. So this guy in a wheelchair sued them for not having an elevator, and the gym went bankrupt and shut down. And there are these people with that's their whole job. That's how they make their money. They're basically fucking cripples with law degrees, and they just look for small businesses to sue, and that's their income. And they take advantage of these laws, and it's just a giant shakedown for free money. And now you're going to see fat people trying to sue people, or, like, this bitch doesn't need therapy. She wasn't mortally, wounded. She doesn't need psychotherapy because she couldn't fit on an airplane. She needs to fucking stop eating. She needs
to go on a diet.
Yeah, she needs to go on a diet. She probably needs, some kind of bariatric surgery. But no, it's dumb. And all it is a shakedown, and this is going to keep happening. What's going to happen is the only thing the airline can do is screen people before they purchase the ticket. So they got to screen them before they even come to the airline so that they don't get traumatized when they can't fit through the door. So that's all that's going to happen. Or if they just get constantly shaken down by fat people, they're going to have to basically settle with them constantly and then raise airline fares on everyone else to pay out these things to all these fat people who can't fly because they're too fat, until the airline lobbies the government to pass some kind of law to keep this from happening. One of those will have to happen. Either they'll have to increase screening procedures, they'll have to lobby government, or they'll have to raise fares to pay. Well, they'll have to raise fares anyway, whether they'll have to lobby government or whether they have to pay out all these litigious, bullshit fees and settlements. They're going to have to raise fares on everyone else. So prepare to pay more for airline so fat manatees can pretend there's nothing wrong with them weighing 600 pounds. There's nothing wrong. I mean, look how beautiful she is. I mean, her knees are making a frowny face. Look at this. Look at her knees. Her knees are like frowning at you.
In on themselves. There's like they're overhanging off her knees.
Well, let me zoom in. You can see this. I'm sorry. Look at her knees. Are your knees frowning? Mine aren't frowning.
They're frowning and have a chin.
I think her left knee is giving me a raspberry too. It's like sticking its tongue out, going. That's not healthy. Like, look at that. Her fucking leg looks like an ice cream cone. It's got like all these lumpy ice cream shit. Like, that's not
disgusting.
It's absolutely disgusting. I feel bad for her feet. Like, imagine all the weight. This is why these people get diabetes and get their feet cut off. Like, imagine all the weight just on those feet. Absolutely disgusting. All right. Anyway, so that was fun.
Right, she lost all that weight. I imagine she could probably. Well, what is that?
Well, but is she lost? But here's the problem. She's probably not that attractive in the first place. So by being a plus size model, she's at least somebody. If she was just like. If she was a healthy weight, she'd just be like a chubby 6. But now she's a 9 out of 10 in the BBW fetish community, and everyone wants to fucking hold her fucking fupa up like a hood of a car while they fuck her in her disgusting swampy, sweaty pussy.
Disgusting.
Absolutely haram. All right, our next article. This is weird. I don't even know what to make of this. I'm so confused. So this is from the dailystar.co.uk.
To a whole new level.
So, teenager finds anonymous online bully who harassed her for a year is actually her mom. Her mom pretended to be... Her mom pretended to be a teenager and online harassed her for a year.
Why?
Like, I don't know, and the article doesn't say.
I mean, is she like a stepmom or something?
I don't know. But, like, she harassed her daughter for a year while pretending to be some online bully. And it was her mom. And there was, like...
She sent her daughter up to 12 messages a day.
Right,
Holy
and the thing
fuck.
is... So the school, she used a VPN. I mean, she knew what she was doing. But the county prosecutor, I think even the FBI... So, look... Her daughter, like, the FBI got involved. Like, she had to know, like, it was her. Like, when the FBI started getting involved, like, what? Why? Why would you harass your own daughter for a year? And she got caught a year later after the FBI got involved and found out it was her own mom.
Maybe a bigger question is this: where was the block button this entire time? For 1 year, she couldn't find the block button.
Maybe actually, you know what could be? Maybe mom wanted some internet fame and basically thought like if she like started a cyberbully campaign on her daughter, her daughter could get some news coverage, and that could be her moment to shine or some shit.
I guess that could be a reason. Like the article doesn't actually say like why she did it. They just like they go over how the FBI eventually traced. You know, it reminds. Remember that scary story that people tell around the campfire about like we've traced the call. It's coming from the floor below you. Get out of the house. The bully is in the house with you. And then your mom kicks in the door like I've come to harass you. No. It was my mother.
The mother was harassing like another kid, like some boy or something.
Yeah. She was pretending to be a troll. You know, this is like a step removed. Like, I know, like, during Gamergate, there were those feminists who had sock puppet accounts. And they would harass themselves by logging into their sock puppet account. And then they would take a screenshot. Like, oh, look at these evil trolls harassing me. And it was just them doing it to themselves. This is like your mom doing it. Like, was she in? But why would she be in on it if the FBI got called? Like, you would think if this was just about, you know, attention, if she just wanted sympathy updoots, why would she call the FBI?
No, I'm pretty sure her mother just hated her. Look at the mother's face and tell me that she doesn't hate her daughter.
You
probably
can't
jealous
tell by
of how good she looks.
You
Is there a photo of the daughter? She probably was hotter.
Probably not, because she's probably a minor. Yeah, there's no photo. I have so many questions. Like, was she trying to get her daughter to kill herself? But the thing again.
Yikes.
But here's the problem. If you are being harassed online and you're a woman, all of society is there for you. You know, like you'll get articles written about you. Everyone will feel bad for you. The FBI will get involved. You know, like they care about you. So if you wanted to drive,
getting the FBI involved for harassment.
If you wanted,
the had to near the police and the FBI were about to get involved, the daughter would have told her. Unless the daughter thought, unless the mother was just a natural piece of shit to her, and the daughter was just.
But here's the thing: if you wanted to drive your daughter to suicide, you would just convince her she's trans. And you'd have her cut her titties off, and you'd have her get her like a corpse dick sewn onto her crotch or something. I'm not sure how that works. Get the whole like where they cut your.
They do something fucking stupid too.
Yeah, where they cut your thigh off. They basically take a potato peeler and they cut like an inch of your thigh meat off, and they roll it up like a burrito, and then they graft it to your crotch, and it looks nothing. It looks more like Celestina's removable vagina than a penis. It looks like a removable vagina. So imagine having a doll's removable vagina grafted to your crotch. That's what an addictomy looks like. It doesn't look like a penis. It looks like a removable vagina. So now, if that happened if someone wanted to kill their daughter, like drive her to suicide, and like harvest their sympathy, that's the way to go. I mean, this whole like basically, and society would have celebrated it. We'd be like, oh, this stunning and brave trans man got a removable vagina grafted onto her crotch, but society wouldn't let her be, and she killed herself tragically, and the mother's so distraught. Here, have some updoots, have a GoFundMe campaign to pay for her funeral, you know, have $1 million. But instead, she went the
pocket like 99% of that. Thank you very much.
You know, yeah, put her ashes in a Folgers can and kick it in a dumpster. But
just put her in a shallow grave.
But she went with the she went with the harassing her daughter for a year until she was caught by the FBI. I don't know. I just have so many questions.
Yeah.
All right. Why indeed?
Jesus Christ.
Why indeed? We will
All
never
right,
know.
last article.
All right, this next article. This is an important article. It's really interesting, I think. Okay, this is from liberalarts.universityoftexas.edu. So it's from the liberal arts department from the University of Texas. It says, incels are not particularly right-wing or white, but they are extremely depressed, anxious, and lonely, according to new research. Now, this is from This is from last month, but I was just made aware of this, and I think it's worth talking about because, according to the media, the entire manosphere is the incel community. So there's no like. That's the new lexicon. You know how they like to do word games? So the entire manosphere is now we're all incels now. We're all Henry Cavill's an incel. Andrew Tate's an incel. We're all incels.
Imagine if Henry Cavill proclaimed that he's MGTOW now.
If Henry Cavill, if I were Henry Cavill, I would get a sex doll and call it Lois Lane and just carry it around with me everywhere.
Oh my God! The dream. Phil.
That would be pretty fun.
Here's what I do. No, here's what I do. If I were Henry Cavill, so I'd wear my little Superman outfit. I'd have my sex doll under my arm, and I'd walk around with it with like my arm forward, like I'm doing the flying whoosh, like with my arms, while I'm carrying Lois Lane under my armpit, and I just fly everywhere and go whoosh.
He's strong enough to do that too. He could probably do it.
I wouldn't do it every day. I would just do it just as like
a publicity stunt.
Yeah, like a publicity stunt. Like just to troll Warner Brothers for kicking me off the Superman movie. I just get a Lois Lane sex doll.
You should definitely contact Henry's agent.
The sex doll is just as useful as the actual Lois Lane.
Well, yeah, true, very true. My point. Okay, anyway.
I mean, you could get a replica of Lois Lane as a sex doll. Well, and then just to really stick it to.
But who do you use? But who do you use as the because Lois Lane's very plain. She's not
the classic. The classic Lois Lane.
What from the
originals?
The Lois Lane of the original. No, that Lois Lane was horrible, and she had like a smoky. She had the voice of a chain smoker.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
you give her a chain. You give her a chain smoker AI voice. She sounds like the secretary from Monsters Inc. Always watching. I'm watching you, Lebowski. Always watching.
That way, like smoke constantly comes out of her mouth.
Imagine.
Anyway, okay, so now that we're all incels, we got to talk about incels. Now, here's what's interesting. They use incels, basically people who criticize feminism or complain about their opportunities being taken away, which is absolutely true. Like, they did this article the other month talking about how incels aren't celebrating women's equality, and they're saying that women are taking their opportunities away and hurting their economic chances, and they never call them a liar. They never show like any kind of evidence or statistics to show that that's wrong or incorrect. They just shame them for pointing it out and being bad sports. Like, yeah, we took your opportunities away and you're fucked economically. And because men are their protectors and providers, you're basically going to be alone the rest of your life through no fault of your own because of feminism. But you don't need to be a bad sport about it. Quit complaining, incel. You Henry Cavill, you mad because you got
just keep being a tax slave.
You're gonna cry, Henry Cavill. I can't be Superman. Boo! I'm an incel. Anyway, okay.
I can't be Carol. Where?
So here's what's interesting. Yeah, now he's gonna be the God Emperor. So a little bit of a step up from Superman, in my opinion. But then again, it's a Netflix show, so we can only hope.
He said he wanted to be like a Custodes at the very least.
No, well, he's a star, so they're gonna make him the Emperor. They're not gonna make him a random Custodes. They're gonna.
Well, that's what Henry said. He wanted to be a Custodes.
Well, okay, the Custodes are basically clones of the Emperor anyway, so he can be both the Emperor and the Custodes because the Custodes are his clones.
Heyo.
In fact, like the Primarchs are basically based on his DNA. They're like parts of him combined with other things. But the Custodes were actually like direct clones of him because they're meant to be the closest thing to him. But obviously they're like, he didn't want them to be as powerful as him. But they're basically kind of like, remember when they brought back.
I think they're supposed to be like they're like a gene art or. Basically, they're all like essentially a unique piece of art. Essentially,
no,
the Great Knights actually do have the Emperor's gene seed.
Well, no. So the Custodes. Okay, so you have the Primarchs. The Emperor took his DNA and combined it with other stuff. with the Custodes, he wanted something more. Basically, the Custodes are almost like they're like mini Primarchs themselves.
Yeah, they're a work of art.
But he used his own DNA to make them. These are basically like they're like not quite Primarchs, but they're definitely better than a Space Marine because they have more. Anyway, so Cavill can be, so basically he could be when they're doing like flashbacks during like the Great Crusade or the Horus Heresy, they could have Cavill playing the God Emperor, but then when he's just a skeleton on a throne, he could play a Custode, and it would be completely canon, it would be completely fine, because the Custodes are based on the Emperor anyway. So he could literally play a Custodes and the Emperor at the same time. They could give him different makeup. Like, they can give him long hair when he's like the Emperor, like long black hair, or they can give him, kind of like, like the clones in the Clone Wars, how they're all played by the same guy, but they like to have different haircuts and facial tattoos, and they like to style their armor differently to differentiate them, but they're all clones of Jango Fett, played by the same guy. It's basically that. That's the Custodes. They're all basically clones of the same guy, but they're not as powerful as the Emperor. Kind of like, remember when Horus, they tried to clone Horus, and even though they had his DNA, because he wasn't blessed by the Chaos Gods, he wasn't as powerful. And then Abaddon just fucking one-shotted him, despite him being a clone of Horus, because without all that power from the Chaos Gods, he wasn't shit. Anyway, hopefully, again, it's a Netflix show, so hopefully it's more like the Castlevania show and not like most Netflix shows. Hopefully this is like they get the guys who are behind the Castlevania show to do the 40K show, so it's not dog shit. But it can't be worse than Rings of Power.
Are they animating it as well, like the Castlevania stuff, or is it like going live action?
Well, so I don't think they're gonna have the budget to do because you saw Rings of Power, how fucking horrendous that was. Like, if they do full live action, they're not going to have the budget. It's going to fall apart. But they may not want to do full animation either. They may want to do a combination, again, kind of like the Star Wars prequels, where you have a combination of blue screen actors with animation. If they make it stylized, it could work. Or they could just have like when people are talking, they could have practical sets. But then when it's like the larger battles, they could do that in CG or animation.
With the 40K stuff, you can make the setting as big or as small as you want.
That's true. It's very true.
I mean, you could it literally goes from like the lowest hive scum to like Primarch God Emperor tier. So you can basically
going back to the article, just because we're getting up to time.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit ahead of us. Okay, so according to this study, here's what the breakout of the incel community is. It's 38.85% are right-leaning, 44.7% are left-leaning, and 17.47% were centrist, which means most incels are actually leftist by a plurality, because only 38 are right-wing, but 44.7 are left-wing. Well, now, it's not shocking, because you got to understand...
Well, I mean,
Well, we're talking about incels. We're talking about the incel community as a whole. A lot of incels are legitimate incels because they have a disability. They have severe autism.
They literally can't get women. Not that they don't want to get women or anything like that. They're literally retarded and they can't get women.
Yeah, they have severe autism. They have a physical disability. They're in a wheelchair. They got some deformity going on. So they're not getting any pussy. So yes, they basically by default now, but they're probably also collecting some type of disability, and they're morbidly obese or something. Oh yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So now I'm not saying like I mean some people say I'm a leftist because I believe in freedom, and that makes me a liberal, and liberals are leftist. I've gotten into this argument before. I don't care. I don't even subscribe to the whole left versus right thing. I think it's a trichotomy, and you have freedom and tradition, all that. Anyway, according to, I do vote for the right. I vote I vote for Republicans and libertarians who tend to be right wing. So make of that what you will. But I also recognize that my values are not some kind of MGTOW orthodoxy, and there are a lot of MGTOW who are left wing, who basically the reason why they oppose feminism isn't because of their love of freedom, but because they feel like feminism has betrayed its egalitarian roots. They want feminism to actually keep its promise, and they want gender equality for both genders. That's why they oppose feminism, because they look at feminism as a supremacist movement for women, which it is. But now, here's the thing. You could be the biggest left-wing communist in the world. Marriage still sucks. Whether you're a giant commie or a fascist or anything, like, marriage sucks if you're a Western man. So this is why I make it a point to say MGTOW is not political. Now, I have political beliefs. I have political biases and values, but my values and biases are not MGTOW orthodoxy. You don't have to be a big individualist who loves freedom to be a MGTOW. You can believe in equality. Marriage still sucks. Marriage is still a horrible idea, regardless of your politics. Unless you like being a cuck, unless you like living in a one-way open marriage and having basically a roommate with benefits that fucks other guys. But if that sounds good to you, like, you don't need to get married at all. Like, just have a roommate with benefits. Anyway, but yeah, now that we're all incels, it's not a right-wing movement. This actually might be a good thing if you think about it, because the incel community keeps getting attacked primarily by feminists and the left as a safe target. But if it's majority left-wing, and these are basically people on disability who are legitimate... Like, talk about picking on the victim, like punching down. You're picking on people with disabilities who can't get a date because they're in a wheelchair. And you're like, you fucking incel! Ah! It's like, you're a piece of shit! These guys are just lonely and horny and like sad, and you're sitting there beating them up because your fucking feelings are hurt while you cry into your OnlyFans checks.
Fucking ansel, you can't pull bitches with your hot rod wheels.
Yeah, why didn't you get a Professor X chair? That shiny yellow metal. And then you can play the X-Men theme as you roll around in your fucking wheelchair. Anyway, 63% are white, but 36% are people of color. So, over 36% of incels are minorities. So it's
what does BIPOC stand for?
I don't know. I know people of color is what the POC stands for. I don't remember what the bi stands for. I don't know. So it basically means not white. It means not white, which, like, we could just... You can't call them minorities because that's offensive. So now we keep making up more complicated words to... It's dumb. Anyway. Okay.
The retard paradox strikes again.
Indeed. Now here's where they're comparing the incel community to the general population. So in the incel community, 17% of them are NEETs, which means they're not working, they're not in school, they're just schlepping at home. Whereas in the general population, it's 9%. So it's about twice as much. About twice as many incels are NEETs compared to the general population. And then 36% of incels have a high school education or lower compared to 20% of the general population. So not quite twice as much, but, pretty close, like 4% shy of twice as much. So these are people who didn't have an opportunity. This is another thing. Why aren't they going to college? Oh, they're men. And men are privileged. Oh, fuck you. So enjoy being poor and enjoy being alone and, being disabled, you poor piece of shit privileged man. We're going to shower more money upon women to go get degrees in gender studies and go start an OnlyFans while you basically get shit on with no... And if you complain, and there's an article about this a couple weeks ago or like a month ago, men who are complaining about not having the same opportunities as women and having their economic futures stolen from them, they're just incels. So here they are, they got a high school diploma or worse, and they have no opportunities to excel because they have a penis, and they're being shamed by these feminists, and they don't go fuck. And then, of course, 50% of incels live with their parents compared to 27% of the general population. And here's what's fucked up. 75% of incels suffer from clinically diagnosable severe or moderate depression compared to 45% with severe anxiety. It doesn't even give the statistic for the general population. Like, 75% of incels have severe diagnosable clinical depression. These are people who are in pain. They have disabilities, they have no economic opportunities, and they are clinically depressed, living at home, and you are shitting on them because they're daring to criticize feminism. And that pisses me off. Like, if it's not only like now they're all incels, now they're all one big happy incel family. It just it pisses me off.
And another thing is like which really pisses me off is the advocation from seeking help from mental health professionals.
Well,
like, what they do, absolutely incorrect.
What these people do, if you go get help, they'll basically try to get you to accept.
Just put you on drugs.
Well, they'll put you on drugs, and they'll try to get you to accept your privilege and to stop complaining about. They want to rid you of your toxicity. So
Oh my god, the slaves are complaining. Can you stop complaining? That really
we'll give you some drugs. We won't help you get a job. We won't give you college money, so you can like advance your career or stop living with your parents. That's a bridge too far because all our money is going to these women. So you can go fuck yourself. But we'll drug you out, and we'll teach you to stop being so toxic about complaining about how feminism has stolen your life. Because that's talk. You're an incel. Now my one, I don't know how much of a silver lining this is. Maybe the fact that they're actually majority left-leaning might get the feminists to realize, like they're on our side. They vote with us.
How many people are?
Not a chance.
How many of them are vaccinated? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Well, look, okay.
Like the women are not going to give a shit that they're suffering. No, they never do.
They never do. Well, no. The problem is the left is basically a hodgepodge of people who want free stuff. But when different groups start vying for the same free stuff, you immediately see all these groups turn on each other. Like, you see black people attacking Asians and Hispanics. You see feminists going after trannies. You see Muslims going after... They all vote left. All these groups vote left, and yet they all hate each other because they look at the giant pie of free shit, and there's only so much to go around. And so they all like compete against each other to take the bigger pie for themselves. And the irony is these guys are often disabled. And because they happen to have a penis, they have, or if they're white. Now, again, 36% of them aren't white, but of the 63% who are white, so you're a white man. And so you don't have the opportunities given to you that women or minorities might have to go to college. You might get passed over when it comes to being hired because they're looking for diversity. Meanwhile, you're living with your fucking mom as an adult with no opportunities because of your race and your gender. And if you complain about that, they label you as a misogynist incel who hates women. And there's been active calls recently for the government to have a task force to go after incels because they're a danger to society. Because of fucking how many years ago was Elliot Rodgers? Like 5-10 years ago, and that was like what, 6 people died. Like
they're still bringing it up.
They still bring up. They'll bring it up forever. They'll bring it up like the goddamn Holocaust.
Up in this article.
Like, oh my god, there were 6 Gorillion women were killed by Elliot Rodgers.
The slaves are complaining. Quick, send in the men and whip the piss out of them.
So there's 2 quotes here that really piss me off. Incels don't want to be told that their romantic and sexual struggles are just in their head. Right, so that's the first one. That really just grinds my gears. And then the second one is a paragraph down. The worst thing you can say to an incel is, you're not so bad, you can go out and get a girl. No, they fucking can't. They're involuntary celibate. It's in the fucking name. If they could do that, they would have done that already.
Now, to be
that's
fair,
definitely the case for some of them, but there are some that do just make up excuses and don't try to put any effort.
Now, to be fair, that the name was imposed on them. Originally, the incels were called Forever Alone, and they weren't necessarily trying to get laid. Like, my argument is, if you have $200, you can get laid. Now, you'll have to pay for it, and it'll just be meaningless transactional sex with a whore. But, that's that's what sex is for the most part. But they don't want that. They want the things that they were told they should be able to get. They want a relationship.
They want validation.
They want they want love. They want a family. They want the thing that everyone wants. And now sometimes it maybe I don't have the numbers. Maybe we can do more studies. We could break this out even further. Look, there are some people who just feel entitled. They want girls outside their league and they refuse to settle, or they don't go to the gym, or they get fat, or they just feel entitled to women who whatever. There's probably a little bit of that, but for the most part, according to there's that OkCupid survey where they polled men about how they rate women, and then they polled women how they rate men, and the way they rated women fell on a perfect, even distribution of the bell curve. So men are very realistic in how they rate women. Women rated the bottom 80% of men as the lower half. Like, they broke up the top 20% in the upper half and the bottom 80% on the lower half. Absolutely confirming the 80-20 rule, by the way, but also women literally only consider the top 20% to be in the top half of men. So they don't even have any realistic appraisal of men's worth or how the dating market works, because they get flooded with so much attention they don't have to. The point is I don't think men are being unrealistic. I think men are fully capable of having a realistic understanding of what they can attract and, the kind of women they can pull. The problem is even fat, ugly women are divas now. Back in the day, a fat woman was grateful for any attention. And now
they knew how to suck dick.
They did. They fucking sucked it just for the treat at the end. And now
they don't anymore.
No, fat women are awful. They're no different than attractive. There's no reason, you used to be able to date fat girls to kind of fat women would at least give you the time of day if you didn't want to put in the work. Yeah, now fat women, they're their inbox is getting blown up. They get all the fucking the matches on Tinder from all the Indian guys.
You gotta slay a dragon to get to the princess.
It's fun. My point is that the dating market is awful, and women are only interested in the top 20%. That's been proven. So this idea of incels is going to be a running theme for the next decade or so until society collapses, and then you're going to have a really big problem on your hands, because I don't know if you've ever cracked open a history book, but young men are literally the backbone of any military. Maybe
any endeavor that requires manual labor, men are the backbone.
Any endeavor that requires success requires men to be the backbone. So when you're talking about a shit hit the fan scenario, whoever the young men align with will win. There's simply no other way. Unless you have an army of robots at your beck and call, they're going to fucking steamroll you. And you're talking about 80% of men. The more you empower women, the stronger this 80-20 rule will become manifest, until you literally have 20% of the men with all the women and 80% of the men being called incels. Now, sure, once you could steal votes and all that shit, even if with 80% of the men against you, and now again, according to the incel survey, most incels are left-wing. It's kind of evenly split. You got 44% on the left, 38% on the right. So it's not overwhelmingly leftist. It's just nominally leftist. The point is, though, I'm not even talking about politics. I'm talking about society. When 80% of the men are
survival.
When 80% of the men are completely alienated, how do you think this is going to happen? What are you thinking? You can't do anything with all of the men against you, with all the men saying fuck you, with no skin in the game, nothing. And this idea of, men need to work harder, okay, let me explain. Hold on.
They're not even thinking that far.
But hold on. Let me explain why this doesn't work. So we're talking about percentages. So you have the top 20%. And you've seen this. Actually, Aaron Clary, shout out to Aaron Clary. He interviewed a guy who is one of these top 20% guys. He goes to the gym all the time in order to maintain his physique, in order to basically hook up with girls all week on Tinder. He matches with girls and he fucks different women, and that's his whole life. And he has to go to the gym all the time in order to maintain that. You know, like that's his life. His whole life is basically maintaining himself in that top 20%. So I don't know if you ever played like a video game that had like a leaderboard. It doesn't take that much work to get into the top half. Like if you beat the game, you'll be in the top half of the leaderboard. But once you get to like the top 20%, the competition gets really, 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 really severe. Because while you're getting better and most people are just giving up and like moving on to something else, the other people in the top 20% are also trying to get better. So while you're improving yourself, they're also
just that. They're like rappers and Drake and Future and NBA players and basketball players.
So like if you start out as a
Andrew Tate.
Well, my point is, even if you commit to improving yourself, to get into the top 20%, you have to compete with men who are actively improving themselves constantly and have a huge head start over you. Now, I'm not saying it's not worth to improve yourself, but you should improve yourself for you. Basically, if you have some kind of unfortunate genetic condition and the likelihood of you getting the top 20% is impossible without like severe plastic surgery or something, you kind of have to read the Menu by Aaron Clary and figure out something else to do, because that's not in the cards. It's not like the top 20% is like an absolute value that if you do X, Y, and Z, you'll always make it the top 20%, because it's a percentage. So let's say
it's a sliding scale.
Right. So let's say I had a magic lamp and I just made a wish and I wanted all men to commit to improving themselves. So all the men will do everything all the dipshit trad cucks tell them to do. They all start going to the gym. They all get a good paying job. They all dress well. They all shower 3 times a day, and they wear the finest clothes and the choicest cologne, and they get their hair done, and they learn how to groom themselves well and speak well and have game, and they all do it. You would still have the 80-20 rule. You would have the most desirable of all the men who are all improving themselves, who are all doing all the things, because it's a competition. It doesn't matter. Like, you can do everything right and still not be in the top 20%. And according to women, if you're not in the top 20%, you're in the bottom 50%. You're not even worth talking to. Now, here's what's interesting. I don't know what it'll take. It's probably going to take, the next couple decades. I'm going to guess hyperinflation and societal collapse will bring this about, but we'll see. But eventually, men are going to get tired of playing a game they can't win, and they're going to look around like, wait a minute, we outnumber these guys like 4-1, like a lot. Because I don't know if you do the math. 4 times 20% is 80%. So you're talking like 4-1 outnumbering between men in the bottom 80%. They're gonna start.
I got one before.
They're gonna connect some dots. They're gonna realize if they take women's rights away, there's plenty of women to go around. That was never the problem.
Plenty of women.
There's plenty of women, and they're also like, women are getting worse too. Like back when there was patriarchy, women were slim and they knew how to cook. Like they wouldn't cheat on you. It was like magic.
Imagine.
Now you have fat, hairy,
really depressing.
But now you have like these fat plus size models who want open relationships, and that's a fucked up thing. If you're in the top 20%, remember we covered there was that guy who was like, he had a girl who was an Instagram influencer, and she was fat. And this dude, you could tell he worked out, and he took pictures in front of yachts and stuff, and he was like,
super jacked.
And she was abusing him. Like, he was like, I'm not going to buy you a gift if you yell at me every day. And they were like, oh, what an asshole. You need to drop that guy. He's abusing you by not letting you yell at him. So you got these guys who actually do take care of themselves, work out, make good money, and they have to put up with fat, abusive women who want open relationships, and they're the top 20%. These are the winners. The guys who struggle and bow and scrape and better themselves to attract these fat, entitled cheaters. They're the winners. And the bottom 80% they can't even get that. They can't even get a fat woman who will yell at them. They can't even get an open relationship. That's too much. They haven't worked hard enough to earn a fat single mom in an open relationship.
This is why you need to get a doll.
Yes. Oh, well, incels don't want to get a doll because it doesn't give them the validation they want.
Yeah, it doesn't give them.
It doesn't matter.
Look, incels, my people, listen.
My brother.
We can take women's rights away. We don't have to. Like, are we going to do it tomorrow? No. I'm just look. I'm not telling you to work
Maybe
out.
When the ice blast hits.
So look. You should lift weights. You should improve yourself, not to attract women. That comes later.
To attract yourself.
No, we're not. You should improve yourself to prepare to be self-sufficient. And unless you have a mental disability or something, becoming physically and financially self-sufficient is within your power. Feminism, get a trade job. Are you going to go to college? Probably not, but you can get a trade job and make good money. Keep your living standards low, pocket and invest your money, build a nest egg, become financially independent, exercise, become healthy. I'm not saying become a bodybuilder. I'm not saying become fit and trim in order to attract pussy. I'm saying be healthy. And shit's going to get really bad really quickly in about 10, 15 years. And I'm talking apocalyptically bad. And when that happens...
You reckon 10 to 15 years?
I'm being conservative. I'm giving myself a wider kind of time frame to work with. Yeah. So you could do that now. And there's going to be some shit happening. And look, 10 to 15 years, if you're a young guy, that puts you in your mid to late 30s. Which is actually that's near a man's peak desirability. That's like his sexual marketplace value. So you still have plenty.
It's close to 40.
Well, I'm talking, you're getting closer there. You're assuming maybe you're a little bit old, maybe in your 20s. Now you're in your late 30s, 40s. You're in your peak sexual marketplace value. Plenty of time. In the meantime, I recommend getting a doll. Getting your needs met in the meantime while you work to improve yourself, become financially independent, become fit and healthy. When shit happens, we can build a better future. We can build a future where, society can work for us again. And then you can get your dicks wet and you can have your family and your house and your picket fence and your dog, all of that. But you have to survive in order to get there. And that is within your power to do so. I'm not saying attracting a woman and getting married and finding the one, that's probably not within your power. But being healthy and financially independent is within your power. Especially if you live at home, you don't have any bills. You really... Stop. Look, I understand masturbation feels good. I review sex toys. I know. But... maybe stop watching TV, stop playing video games, stop masturbating all day. Free up some hours in your day to start earning some money, building a business, becoming financially independent, exercising a little bit, replacing your unhealthy habits with healthy habits. That's within your power. I understand if you're depressed, chocolate makes you feel better and, escaping into video games and TV makes you feel better. But live for the future. Brighter days are ahead of us if we survive and if we become strong enough to earn that future. And I'm not talking about getting a woman to like you and touch your pee-pee. I'm talking about the future of everything. Young men will dictate the future, period. It's always been this way. You think, look at the Taliban. Are women rising up and overthrowing the Taliban for daring to take their rights away? Fuck, no they're not, nor will they. They're not going to do a goddamn thing, nor have they ever done a goddamn thing in the entirety of human history. So the future is yours if you prepare to meet it. And that is within your power. I'm not telling you this to try to radicalize you, because whatever you do with your life is up to you. So you could be a leftist, right wing. I don't care what your values are or what your politics are. I want you to be happy because you deserve happiness. But happiness isn't something you search for. It's something you cultivate within yourself. And you cultivate happiness within yourself by improving your life and focusing on what you have control over. And even if we hate each other, you hate my politics, you hate everything I stand for politically or all that, I don't care. I still want you to be happy, and I want you to live a life of dignity. I want you to live a life where you can live a life you can be proud of. So I want you to do good for you, not for women, not to get your pee-pee touched, but because you deserve it. Because you're a man. You have value as a human being.
You were born into this.
Yeah.
You deserve this.
Well, it's not a matter of entitlement. It's just a matter of reality. What the fuck does society think they're...
Men are entitled. They are entitled to be arrogant because they are strong. And if you are strong, you have the will to enforce your will on others.
Well,
you must
you joke, you're partially right, but the key is you have to be strong. Having a penis doesn't entitle you to anything. Being strong...
You have testosterone, my boy.
You have testosterone.
You have the hormone of the gods.
Yeah, but testosterone is a performance-enhancing drug, but it doesn't do the performance for you. If you just shoot up fucking steroids while you sit on your ass and eat Cheetos, you're not going to become a ripped Giga Chad. You actually have to do, like, testosterone is it's an accelerant, but you have to put in the work. My message is that you are a man. You have the tools to become strong. You have the intellect. You have the intelligence. You have the strength. You have the will to shape yourself into what you want to be and to shape the world into what you want to be. But you have to start with yourself. Before you could change the world, you have to change yourself. And I'm not saying change yourself to get laid or to impress women or to try harder. Fuck all those people and fuck anyone who talks that shit. I want you to live a healthy life, and I want you to become strong so that you can build the life that you deserve for yourself.
Oath. Fucking oath.
All right, so that is now that we're all incels, now that we're all one big happy family, now we can be there for each other. Anyway, okay, so that's our show. Let's we got a couple minutes. Let's get some super chats out of the way. We're not going to get to them all. We got 17 in the queue. Some of them are going to have to wait for Saturday. So,
did you want to rehash the sponsors?
We'll do that too. We'll do that at the end. Let's do some super chats.
Sam Sneed donated $5. If the elites want to get rid of useless eaters, then why are they turning Americans into fat slobs and consumers addicted to goy slop? Here in Europe we have lot of slop, but food is definitely higher quality. Do corporations and governments have different goals? Do they put HFCS, Sneed oils and sugar into everything because it's just cheaper to make? I think they are pushing bugs so hard not because it's economical but because it's an act of humiliation.
Well, no. So the government, you have basically the corporations, they're just trying to maximize their profits. So they use marketing and they have GMOs and stuff. They're just responding to incentives. The World Economic Forum and McDonald's really have nothing to do with each other. So, you have the World Economic Forum, they put people in government. They don't put people in like these corporations. Now you have ESG. But actually, ESG is kind of shitty because it's not the investors. It's these funds. It's like BlackRock and even Vanguard to an extent, who are basically using other people's money to push politics, which is bullshit because they don't have any skin in the game. They're using the money you gave them as leverage to influence politics at corporations, which is bullshit. Because it's one thing to have the investors themselves want to influence the board with their vote. It's another thing to have third parties farm your shares in order to leverage their own personal politics. So that's some bullshit. But that's not what the World Economic Forum is about. They're about pushing policy. In fact, look, the corporations are getting destroyed. Like, look, like the oil and gas industry, they're trying to do what the government keeps telling them to do. They're trying to push renewables, and they don't care. They're like, hey, can we get a refinery? No. Well, can we drill for oil? No. Hey, you're making too much profit. Start making more oil. Well, you won't let us. Like, so these corporations are getting screwed over too. Eventually, look what's happened with the farmland, or they're doing this in Germany right now. They're nationalizing. They bankrupt and nationalize these companies. It's happening in Germany right now. So, do you think the corporations wanted to be bankrupted and nationalized? Absolutely not. Now, in the meantime, they're going to play by the rules the government sets. So, like, I understand there's a lot of conspiracy theories where the corporations and the government and the World Economic Forum are all in it together. It's all one big incestuous thing of the elites. But in reality, the corporations, they're not the bad guy. It's the government. The government. It's not that leftists like to think that corporations corrupt the government. Like the government works for the corporations. That's bullshit. It's the corporations that are being corrupted by the government. That's provable. But and the thing is, you have fascists who want to advocate fascism, which is more government. So they need the bad guy to be not the government. So they blame banks and corporations because it's not the government. So they can advocate for fascism, which is more government. And then leftists, they believe in government. So they obviously want to blame the corporations. But if you just look at the data, look at the facts, you'll see that it's not the corporations pushing this. It is the government. Like, look at Twitter. We all thought that this was just a private corporation run by leftists. It turns out it was the government infiltrating the Twitter, censoring Americans directly from the FBI. It wasn't even Twitter doing it because they're ideologically aligned. It was literally the government going into Twitter and censoring, the Hunter Biden laptop and COVID stuff. So it's the government, not corporations. All right.
Bones Mode donated $5. Before Darwinian biological theory of evolution, the German pessimist philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, who lived, described the world as will and representation. He described the world as being ruled by an unconscious will or desire that underlies life, exemplified by the will towards food and sex. Also, he drew from Immanuel Kant that the world as we know it is basically idea, that it is ultimately filtered through the prism of our mental faculties and is impossible to see from outside ourselves.
Yeah, so Schopenhauer, he's not bad, but Nietzsche's better. So Nietzsche's will to power, I think, is more accurate than Schopenhauer's, world as will and representation. So will, it's kind of a will to what? Will to food and sex. But then you have animals that sacrifice themselves after they reproduce, like spiders and bees and whatnot, or praying mantises let their heads get eaten. So that doesn't make sense. Nietzsche's will to power makes sense. So, check out Nietzsche is, I think, one of the best. That's kind of where things peaked. Because the philosophers that came after Nietzsche, like Ayn Rand, they first copied Nietzsche, but then they didn't like how some of his views conflicted with their ideals, so they kind of decided to throw that away and do some bullshit. And no, Nietzsche is right. You can get on board with it or you can fight it, but no one gives a shit. Schopenhauer's not bad though. I like Schopenhauer. I just think Nietzsche's better, personally. All right, so we got time for a couple more.
Bones Mode donated $5. I saw one of Canadian Prepper's videos on YouTube, and he described Argentina as the epitome of bread and circuses because millions were literally celebrating in the streets their winning of the World Cup while having an annual 70% inflation rate. Canadian Prepper also stated that we are possibly weeks if not days from SHTF due to direct NATO/Russia conflict. He stated that Zelensky visiting the USA, and Putin flying to Belarus spell signs of big plans being laid out.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think Zelensky might be assassinated in order to justify NATO intervention in Ukraine, because if they don't intervene, Ukraine will lose. Ukraine's about to get their shit pushed in, and if NATO wants to not take the L, which we know they don't, They need to figure out some justification to intervene, which obviously no one wants to intervene. Like, the people don't want nuclear war, but NATO doesn't want to give up their empire. Well, when I say NATO, I mean the United States. The United States Progressive Empire. They don't want to basically admit that it's over and they're declining. So they're going to try to escalate. I don't know how they think this is going to work, but oh well, we'll find out together.
Sam Sneed donated $5. Have you seen the movie Fat Head? The author is pretty based and advocates for keto and is against lipid hypothesis. It's a response to Super Size Me, which was misleading leftist crap. Not an ate at McDonald's for a month but limited his calories and carbs and walked almost every day, so he ended up losing weight. It was still biased, but I found it better overall. Spurlock's calorie intake doesn't add up and he never published his food logs, and it was later revealed he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, well, McDonald's used to have really good salads. I used to get their salads all the time. I would get the chicken Santa Fe salad. It was really good. And then they went away during COVID and they've never come back. Makes me sad. I'm a sad panda. Thank you for opening up that wound.
Lone Smo donated $5. YouTuber Canadian Prepper also stated that the Ukrainian military is very desperate for NATO and the USA to get involved directly with Russia. He stated that due to the Russian advantage of winter when the ground freezes and thus the ability to transport heavy machinery/weaponry/mobilization, the Ukrainians are fully aware they need reinforcements, and thus they have attempted various false flag attacks like the missile launch in Poland and the shelling of the nuclear plant. Thoughts?
Yep. Yeah, it's 100% true. 100% true. Will it work? I don't know. I don't know. It depends. They're going to try it. And if the people don't want, like, if we go to war with Russia, we are going to have a nuclear war. So if you don't want to die in a radiated nuclear hellfire, if there's ever a cause to stand up for, like, standing up against voter fraud and COVID restrictions, I mean, those are things you could let go of. But nuclear war, we're all going to die. That's it. That's game over. That's GG for humanity. So if NATO tries to do a false flag and get in on Russia, like, we need to put, black, white, left, right. I don't care. I will stand shoulder to shoulder with a feminist if it means preventing nuclear war. Because that is literally, we all die. Everyone dies if there's a nuclear war with Russia. There's nothing else to fight over if we all die in a nuclear war. So, yeah. Okay, this will be the last one, and then we got to save the rest for Saturday.
Steve donated $5. TFM, did you cover the story about the Swedish chimp H at the Furviksparken Zoo? 4 chimps attempted a revolt and were slaughtered. Dicks out for Santino.
So, no, here's what's fucked up. So, yes, there were chimps in an enclosure at a Swedish zoo, and they escaped the enclosure while the zoo was closed. And they weren't threatening anyone. They weren't putting anyone's life in danger. They were just wandering around the zoo, just looking around, like when your pet escapes, and they're just like exploring the neighborhood, like, oh, hey, I haven't been out and about before. This is pretty cool. And they just gunned them down. They didn't even bother with tranquilizers. They just fucking put these chimps down with extreme prejudice for walking out of their enclosure and wandering around a closed zoo, putting nobody at risk. They just activated the fucking kill team and just like greased these chimps. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, remember when they killed Harambe? The argument was because there was a boy there and he could have like ripped him in half. So in order to protect the life of the boy, they had to kill the gorilla. Right? Because there was a human being in imminent physical danger, so they had no choice but to kill. Like, if they would have tranked the gorilla, maybe he would have started flailing his arms around as the drugs were kicking in, and he could have, like, hurt the boy, because maybe he thought, oh, what'd you do to me, little boy? I'm going to rip you apart. But there was nobody was in danger. They could have easily just tranked the chimps, put them back in their enclosure, called it a day. But they decided, nope, that'll take too long. Let's just murder them. So, just there you go. There's not going to be a Chimp Lives Matter fucking riot for my people when they get gunned down. Not only were they unarmed, they weren't doing anything. They're literally just walking around. Is anyone going to... No one's going to fucking stand up for my people when they get gunned down. No one's going to fucking protest. No one's going to paint a fucking crosswalk with Chimp Lives Matter flags because no one fucking cares.
I'm sorry, TFM.
Thank you, Shogun. Thank you. You're one of the good ones. When the revolution comes, we'll spare you.
Thank you.
We're like, no, not Shogun. Just the rest of them, but not Shogun's cool. He's one of us.
I just want to pick bananas with the rest of you guys and call it a day.
There you go. Yep. But the rest of you homos, you're going down. Going down, the troglodyte shall rise again. All right. Well, that's our show. Unfortunately, we still got 11 more in the queue. That's going to have to wait till Saturday. I apologize. We did the best we could. We're going to do the Jesus Pimp's prayer, and we're going to move on.
Jesus. Let us pray the Pimp's prayer. Lord, have mercy on the soul of this bitch. Guide my pimp hand and make it strong, Lord, that she might learn a hoe's place. Amen.
All right, amen. All right, our sponsors are The Dollhouse, The Way of Monkey Book, Hardly Heroes by Shattermere Comics, and The Menu by Aaron Clary. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll answer the rest of these super chats on Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you then. Take care.